take it to trial. Take it to trial. Welcome in, grab a seat, hit the like and subscribe. Cause Sweet Peas on the mic with that spicy little vibe. Got the courtroom streaming in the chat, going wild. We're debating heavy topics, but still laughing like a child. From objections to confessions to the judge's side eye. If it's justice and it's messy, we gon' talk about why. Every day's a new case, every moment's a ride. And when Sweet Peas in the building, we be learning with pride. Minds on deck, keep the room running smooth. Film freak therapist, you know, keeping everyone in the groove. Like to with the facts, pretty brown girl with the sass. Moreldia and Fowler keep the peace in the chat. But Jason walks in and the ladies collapse. Chocolate, take it to trial, where the truth gets loud and the laughs run wild. Sweet Peas got the spice, she's the queen of the aisle. Chat fam rolling deep, we've been here a while. Lights on, mics up, we gon' do this right. Take it to trial, every day, every night. Take it to trial. Morning shows are sharp, afternoon is on fire. And we catch every moment that the court might inspire. From witnesses whispering, the lawyers trying to hard. You know Sweet Pea breaks it down like a legal tarot card. Chats cracking jokes, dropping theories on the fly. We're serious when it counts, but we still testify. Minds hold it down when the trolls try to play. If you write a line, court adjourned for the day. But when Jason logs in with that deep hello sound, the ladies in the chat, man, they all fall down. Take it, 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 take it to trial, where the truth gets loud and the laughs run wild. Sweet Peas got the spice, she's the queen of the aisle. Chat fam rolling deep, we've been here a while. Lights on, mics up, we gon' do this right. Take it to trial, every day, every night. Take it to trial. When the sun goes down and the cases get deep, after dark gets spicy, no secrets to keep. Taboo topics, big laugh, slap, happy crew. Sweet Pea says behave, but we never really do. It's opinions, confessions, stories untold, but we handle it with heart like the chat made of gold. Hey! Take it to trial, from day to night and every wild mile. Sweet Peas kneeling strong with her trademark style, and the fam in the chat always makes it worthwhile. Turn it up, show some love, hit the like on sight. Take it to trial, yeah, we live tonight. Take it to trial, yeah, we live tonight. Take it to trial.
Courtroom packed and the cameras on. Folks all whispering won't be long. No more smirks and no more lies. Judge looked down with narrowed eyes. Bailiff waiting by the side door. Steel-toed footsteps on the courtroom floor. Whole chat buzzing like the verdict dropped, but the jury room still got them locked. Hear the cell doors locked. No parole board, baby, round the clock. One-way trip and the bus won't stop. Everybody clap to the L-Wop-Bop, L-Wop-Bop. No appeal gonna save you. Orange jumpsuit, tailor-made flavor. Sink that feeling when the gavel drop. That's the rhythm of the L-Wop-Bop. That's the rhythm of the L-Wop-Bop. Mama crying in the second row. Defense still talking, but it's moving slow. State dock receipts and the pressure's steep. Now the whole room barely even breathes. Used to talk big for the TV lights. Now it's long breaks and uneasy nights. Funny how the swagger disappeared before a single word got cleared. L-Wop-Bop-Bop. Hear the cell doors lock. No parole board, baby, round the clock. One-way trip and the bus won't stop. Everybody clap to the L-Wop-Bop, L-Wop-Bop-Bop. No appeal gonna save you. Orange jumpsuit, tailor-made flavor. Sink that feeling when the gavel drop. That's the rhythm of the L-Wop-Bop. The L-Wop-Bop. That's the rhythm of the L-Wop-Bop. Case pause, courtroom tense. Everybody waiting on the consequence. One deep hush through the parking lot to the
Good morning, guys. I had a chat on until we started as we last in the trial. They have not started yet. It look like they just waiting for the jurors right now. So it's gonna be real interesting to see how this goes. So welcome in. If you haven't already, you can sign up for the Discord in order to be able to hang out and chat. I will drop that link in here again. So my plan is that depending on what they do, if we actually do have court today, then I will probably end this stream and wait till later to stream it so we can be able to chat. But I didn't want to miss out on what may happen this morning. So that's why we are actively looking at it. Yeah, I don't want to miss out on that part, but like I said, in the same token, I'd rather have our good chat. And if we don't have one here, we just don't have it. Yeah, I just don't want to do it like that. But anywho, let me say good mornings. Good morning, Donna. Good morning, therapist. Good morning, film. Good morning to everybody that is currently watching and are chatting on Discord. I see you in the George Pino room. Welcome, everybody. I did find this one clip. They are still not, they're not in court yet, but look at this one clip I just found.
You know how they say you can't go back in time, and I never want to relive that moment again.
Pain, anguish, hope. That's just some of the words to describe what a South Florida family has been through since their daughter was involved in a horrific boat crash.
She may have survived the crash, but her life will never be the same. Their lives have been forever altered.
Today, for the first time, the parents of Caterina Puig spoke out only on NBC6 and shared an update on their daughter's recovery and talked to us about the investigation into that crash.
NBC6 reporter Laura Rodriguez joins us live with that exclusive interview. Laura, very, very emotional.
Yes, and this family is forever changed, but they are hopeful. I spoke to Kathy's dad here in South Miami. I spoke to her mother via Zoom. She is currently in Jacksonville with Kathy, where she is receiving intensive therapy treatment. In February 2021, Kathy Puig led her team to the state semifinals. She was captain of the Our Lady of Lourdes Academy soccer squad and excelled academically.
She won Player of the Year her junior year and was probably in almost every honor society you could possibly think of.
On track to apply for college at the University of Florida, Kathy's life took a drastic turn on September 4th, 2022.
You know how they say you can't go back in time, and I never want to relive that moment again.
Kathy was one of 14 passengers on a boat driven by George Pino. Investigators say after Pino crashed into a channel marker, all passengers were ejected from the boat, killing 17-year-old Lucy Fernandez and severely injuring Kathy Puig.
Is Kathy dead? Do we even know? And he said, I don't know.
I mean, she looked horrible. Her stomach was bloated. Her face was bloated. It was just, it was bad.
Diagnosed with a traumatic brain injury, Kathy was in a coma for about 3 months, but she survived.
Lucy has been Kathy's angel since the night of the accident and will continue for the rest of her life.
There is not one day I don't wake up and think about them.
In an effort to cover Kathy's lifelong medical expenses, the Puig family sued George Pino and his wife Cecilia. A confidential settlement was reached with George, and a $16 million settlement was ordered by a judge against Cecilia. As for the criminal investigation, the Puigs believe the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission mishandled the case.
They really, didn't take the time or didn't do their due diligence with this case.
There was definitely alcohol on the boat, and that wasn't really looked at too much by FWC.
Moving forward, the goal is for Kathy to walk. Step by step, she's on the road to recovery, backed by her family, friends, and an entire community ready to cheer her on this Saturday at a wiffle ball tournament in her honor.
And just an incredible way of just never giving up. And she knows, she wants to do it. And we're going to be there. And Kathy's going to come out on top.
Incredible perspective from this.
Man, talk about heartbreaking. Like, golly. Like, certain stuff like that. Like, I don't even know if I haven't really heard much testimony in regards to her. I know we heard from the ME yesterday. And of course they, spoke about the young lady, Lucy Fernandez, who lost her life in this tragic accident. But I know it was one other girl who was also injured, a third young lady. That just happened to be in my news thing. Shout out prayers to the family. Yeah, it just happened to be on my little side thing when I was getting the trial set up today, and I said, "Oh, what is this?" Yeah, they have not started court, of course. So, the courtroom is filling up. At least from what I can see. I don't know. I guess, that's what I wanted to do. I do want to put a poll in the chat because I wonder, do you guys think that this case is going to get dismissed? Let's see. Hey, Amy. So this was the, in case you missed it, if anybody missed it yesterday, this is the actual JOA argument that we watched yesterday, kind of trying to see if he's going to be, get a direct verdict.
Judge, at this time, consistent with our pretrial motion, we move for judgment of acquittal on both counts. I'm trying to decide which to begin with. We know that the culpable negligence standard, even though it might sound like negligence, is actually by law considered the more difficult offense to prove for the state. And you'll see there's an anomaly that culpable negligence is also considered a lesser included offense of recklessness. So we're going to have a lot of complications if we get to the jury instruction phase. But for the moment, if we start with the vessel homicide, which uses the word reckless, the state has to prove more than that there was a crash, because that's res ipsa loquitur maybe for ordinary negligence, but the fact of the elision doesn't prove that this was a crime. And the fact that the object wasn't moving, in this case, a marker, likewise doesn't prove it's a crime. And in the 14 or so cases that we had cited pre-trial, and we have more, and overnight, we dig every day. You encouraged us, and we've gone outside of Florida. We're going to submit to you additional points of authority. In cases where a woman walking across the street with a baby stroller gets run over, of course, it would be easy enough for the state to say that constitutes recklessness. And yet, on all of those cases that we cited to you, the Court of Appeals said it wasn't enough. And those were cases that the trial judge let it go to the jury convicted, appeal, reversed in 14 cases. So let's look at what are the facts that the state has proven here. We know the elephant in the courtroom is the state's effort to try to suggest that George Pino was impaired, but there's just no evidence of it. The evidence that they have 2 beers over the course of several hours, in 2.5 hours, or close to 3, and no evidence that the consumption of that quantity of beer led to any kind of impairment. Every witness who has testified on that question has negated the suggestion of impairment. And we don't need to call out the witnesses, Judge, because they were all in unison on that. But I'm sure I'm going to hear about that from the state. They're going to say, well, maybe it was more than 2 beers. There's just no evidence of it. And what we have is no evidence of impairment. So if we can remove impairment, remove the effort to turn this into a BUI case when it's not, what we're left with is the elision itself. The speed is not itself proof of anything. This is not a speeding case because there's no speed limit in the channel. Not then, not now. And the conditions were excellent for boating. I think you heard testimony from law enforcement officers who confirmed that. At least one.
Let me ask you a question. Sorry to interrupt.
Please.
Speed, you say there's no speed limit. Okay, so is there a point where speed is reasonable or not reasonable under the totality of the circumstances of operation?
There could be in certain cases, although we know from Lizardo where the guy was driving 80 some odd miles an hour towards the Miccosukee Trail and was in fact violating the speed limit. The court said that wasn't enough. Here we have.
Well, what else was there?
It was speed, and he crashed right into the other car.
Besides speed in the crash, were there any other evidence of any other conduct?
I don't believe in Lizardo. I think that was the gravamen of, and still the judge let it go to the jury.
I understand that.
Well, let me say, Lizardo was that was the conditional plea. The court rejected the motion to dismiss. Right, and so Lizardo makes clear that even way over a speed limit is not enough. Right, and here we don't even have a violation of a speed limit.
Because there is none.
Exactly.
That's my question. What? Would there ever be a speed on the water that could be considered unreasonable?
There could be. If, for example, the vessel that was being used can't handle the speed, for example. That's one example. This boat, the Robalo, there's no doubt that this boat is built to handle that level of speed. So in that case, there's no suggestion that speed in and of itself put anybody's life in jeopardy. If the elision had not occurred, speed would have put nobody at risk. The speed itself did not create, there was no other boat in the channel. There's no risk of elision. I mean, there's no risk of collision. There was an elision. And so the speed itself did not jeopardize the lives of anybody on that boat. Now, we have the evidence of the law enforcement officers who themselves were operating at that speed. I think one officer said he was traveling between 40 and 45 miles an hour with passengers, the less injured passengers on the bow, seated on the floor of the boat, and thought it was perfectly safe. So you have that evidence to consider in terms of whether George Pino drove in a way that's any more dangerous than the way law enforcement says was not dangerous. This suggestion that having 7 passengers on the front seating, the way the boat is designed, again, no evidence that put them at risk under the conditions that we have. So by way of example, we didn't hear anything about choppy seas, precipitation, conditions were ideal. So this boat was built for this speed with this number of passengers. So we take alcohol impairment, not proven. Speed, not excessive, not unreasonable for the conditions that happened here. Whether there had been 7 passengers in the bow or just 1 passenger in the bow, the elision it's the elision that caused the injuries and the death. It wasn't the number of passengers or the speed. Had the speed been 30 miles an hour and you go into a fixed object, someone could be seriously hurt if not killed. So the speed isn't the issue. The issue, I think, what the state's best case is that the operator, George Pino, didn't see the marker. Because I think everybody agrees, had he seen it, he would not have never intended to hit it, and he would have avoided if he had seen it. And so the question is,
I don't have any evidence in front of me that, no evidence that Mr. Pino, I don't believe, because I think the state's charges would have been different. Mr. Pino, viewing the scene, the marker, drove that boat into the marker.
that was their point in opening statement, that it would have been a murder charge, right? That's their point. So we assume that their theory is he did not see it, because if he had, they'd be charging a much different crime. And so if you assume that he just didn't see it, for whatever reason he was distracted, that doesn't prove culpable negligence, doesn't prove recklessness. That's negligence at best. You didn't see the stop sign. You ran the stop sign. Your defense, why did you run the stop sign? Because I didn't see it, Your Honor. And I ran the stop sign. 99 times out of 100, nobody gets killed when there's a stop sign run. But on the one time that someone is running the stop sign, that's plain view, the driver says he didn't see it, does not result in homicide charges. I didn't see the light. I missed it. Yes, I've been through that intersection 100 times. The light turned red. I was distracted. I went through the intersection. Someone gets killed. That is not culpable negligence. That's not recklessness. It has to be a course of conduct so wanton, so willful, so consciously indifferent to the outcome. There has to be some depravity in the mind of the operator, not just a lapse in missing the stop sign or not yielding in going into an intersection, entering I-95 and not yielding to a car that's coming and an accident happens. Because of course, once contact is made with another object, someone's going to get hurt, but that doesn't turn it into a crime. And whatever your view is about recklessness, Judge, as to culpable negligence, if McCreary, the state of Florida Supreme Court, means something, we're not quite sure what it means, it has to be even, I guess, more depravity of heart in the way that the operator was operating the vessel. So we're struggling to understand what the difference between those two standards are. So as far as manslaughter goes, the more, call it serious charge, I don't know how the state's going to distinguish between recklessness and culpable negligence, but whatever those tests are, the state's easier argument's it's got to be recklessness. And yet we still don't have anything that the state has offered to explain other than the elision itself. They're defining recklessness as the fact that the elision occurred. But that proves too much. That's just res ipsa loquitur. That's just ordinary negligence. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you so much. All right, state, prima facie evidence, the standard, your burden.
The standard, Your Honor, is that no rational trier of fact could find that the state of Florida met the elements of these two offenses beyond and to the exclusion of every reasonable doubt. Moreover, at this stage in the trial, the court has to give every inference in favor to the state. The state submits, we have submitted competent and substantial evidence that a rational trier of fact could in fact use to find the state has met the elements. Number one, as to vessel homicide, that George Pino operated his vessel in a reckless manner likely to cause the death of or great bodily harm to another person. And two, that his reckless operation of the vessel caused or contributed to the cause of death of Lucy Fernandez. I don't need to instruct the court, obviously, on what the definition of recklessness is.
Well,
But
willful and wanton disregard.
yes,
Right, for the safety of persons.
intentional, knowing, or purposeful is willful.
Okay.
So to the extent that Your Honor now has not just the evidence from the state's traverse for the sworn motion to dismiss that was filed pre-trial, but now the court has heard actual evidence to show that this defendant changed course of direction that placed him on a complete collision course with channel marker 15. That is an intentional, knowing, and purposeful act. Not that he is intentionally and purposefully going to try to run into the channel marker, but that he's the one at the helm dictating what the speed of that vessel will be and what the heading of that vessel will be. To the extent that wanton means conscious and intentional difference to consequences, and with the knowledge that damage is likely to be done to persons or property, we have that as well, Your Honor. The evidence is clear and unrebutted that this defendant, by his own words, by the words from his GPS device, and from the words of other witnesses, this man knows that body of water very well. He's been through that channel a multiple number of times. On top of that, Judge, he's gone past specifically channel marker 15 numerous times. So if you know where that channel marker is, and you nevertheless decide to pursue a course in your vessel that puts you on a collision course with it, and which I know Your Honor was not in a position to see all the video footage, which of course is available to the court. But when Mr. Albert was on the stand, I would stop, pause those videos to show that way before even where that final track mark is, channel marker 15 is clearly visible. The sun wasn't in the defendant's eyes as he's heading toward the east, and the sun would be setting in the west. There's no evidence that there's anything to obstruct his view. What there is evidence of is that this defendant either was driving blindfolded, looking somewhere else other than where he was supposed to go, because he had 9 seconds plus to say, oh my goodness, I need to change course.
So is that the level of wantonness and willfulness that defines the actions as reckless?
Yes, because
versus ordinary negligence.
This is way more, Judge. This isn't, oops, I ran a stop sign. This is, I see a stop sign in the road in front of me and I'm going to run right into it. This isn't a momentary lapse of reason. This is a course of conduct that anyone, especially someone with his level of boating experience, would know. If you run into a fixed and a stationary steel pole that is in the bay for the purpose of keeping you safe, that has a day glow green marker, and you just run into it when it's right in front of you in broad daylight, how is that possible? Other than, as I said in my opening statement, you're checked out, you're zoned out. I don't know what was going on. The defense has done an admirable job defending the defendant against a charge of boating under the influence manslaughter. But I've never charged him with that offense. I've never said that he was impaired. He's the one that put into issue that he had been drinking alcohol, and that was corroborated by his wife and by 2 other witnesses, Mr. Fernandez, as well as Carolina Monterey. So the fact that he had alcohol in his system is clearly an issue that goes along with the knowledge of this location.
Well, do you think that establishes a failure to use ordinary care? In other words, I asked the state, what evidence have you presented to establish that Mr. Pino exhibited a failure to use, beyond a failure to use ordinary care?
If the court thinks that the only thing ordinary...
So let me just kind of clarify what we got going on here, Amy. Sorry, honey. So we watching here on YouTube, right? Right now we're able to chat in here because we're not in the live courtroom feed. But once the live courtroom feed begins, I will disable the live chat in here, and we you can watch on YouTube and you can chat in the Pino room. So if people have thoughts or anything as we're going through here, we'll chat in that room. Since I don't know what the whole thing about this live chat. I don't know what the point is about, but just to kind of give everybody idea. So you would go over to Discord in order to, hey lady, how are you? To be able to chat. Once we are in a live courtroom. The reason why we're able to chat right now is because we're watching past stuff from yesterday. But once we get into the courtroom with today's live testimony, and we will have to disable the chat, which sucks, but it's definitely keeping us focused and multitasking. So right where you were chatting before, because I seen that you were over there, you were chatting there. Once I disable the chat, I'll kind of let you guys know once that happens. But right now, that's not the case because they have not started. So there's that.
If the court believes that running for 9 seconds right into a channel marker that's clearly and highly visible in broad daylight at this.
One of the efforts to avoid was at the last, was there from the GPS data?
There was no effort to avoid until like a second before impact, when I guess he finally snaps to it and it's like, oh my goodness. And that's why we have that one last track mark. But at the rate of speed that he was traveling with the weight of all those passengers on that vessel is not agile to the point where it can not hit that channel marker. He put into play a series of events that led to him striking that channel marker. And it's not res ipsa loquitur. The fact that he ran into it in and of itself, of course, is not proof that he was reckless. But we don't have just res ipsa loquitur. We have GPS. We have testimony about his knowledge of that location. We have testimony about the weight added to his vessel.
There have to be certain willful decisions, right?
And how about a willful decision not to course correct when you see that you have a deadly channel marker ahead of you if you don't course correct? Inaction in this situation was the action.
That's what I was getting. Could that be, in terms of evidence, the evidence of failure to act, cause the conduct or lack of conduct to rise to the level of something done ordinarily?
Absolutely. And Judge, I would strongly urge the court, because of unfortunately the makeup and the design of this courtroom, it's impossible for the court to see.
No, I can see it
on the screen. Oh, from the mirror, Your Honor could see it? Okay, I take that back, sorry. That being said then, I would think that the court can all the more appreciate that if a person has every reason in the world to see a hazard up ahead and has all the means available to avoid that, and that person doesn't take any action, then that person is choosing a course of conduct that is going to likely result in death or serious bodily injury. And that is wanton. So have I established with competent substantial evidence that the defendant was reckless because he was willful and wanton? Yes, but the crime of vessel homicide requires the state only to prove that he was willful or wanton. I submit the evidence shows both. And as to the charge of manslaughter, the state charged the defendant with manslaughter under 2 theories. Yes, one of those theories is culpable negligence, which, yes, we know from case law is considered a higher burden of proof than even recklessness.
Well, isn't that interesting, because isn't that a lesser for the vessel homicide?
The opposite, vessel homicide.
Vessel homicide being the lesser of the manslaughter.
It can be, yes, depending on how the charges are pled. In this particular case, the state chose to charge the defendant with each of those offenses separately. And it's my intention to argue to the jurors that, yes, this evidence is competent, substantial to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant acted recklessly. However, I am willing and prepared to go the extra step and say, but not only was it reckless, it also rises to the level of, and this is where I get to the point of the way that the state charged the defendant with manslaughter. I charged him with manslaughter by causing the death of Lucy Fernandez through his own culpable negligence, but I also charged him with manslaughter by intentionally committing an act or acts that caused the death of Ms. Fernandez. And here, the act or acts was his decision to continue to plow forward as fast as that vessel could go, given the weight that was on that vessel, headlong into a channel marker that he knew was there, with a boat full of 17-year-olds, many of whom had been engaged in consumption of alcohol, so that if, heaven forbid, there's an emergency, their ability to react to it is going to be less, which in addition, that none of them are wearing life jackets.
You come back to that.
In part because it seemed that the court understood that recklessness is not just the way that you drive your boat, it's all of the factors taken into account.
Right, again, not just the way you drive a boat, but when you talk about all of the factors, it's not a type of contributory negligence because it's the girls were drinking or not drinking. You would say that? See, I don't know how the ability of the girls to respond or not respond go to the criminality, if it is, of Mr. Pino.
Because if Mr. Pino is on notice that the passengers on his vessel are going to be less able to react in an emergency, but he nevertheless places them in a position where they are going to be facing an emergency, then his decision to consciously disregard their vulnerability goes to him being A, reckless, and B, culpably negligent.
Not taking steps beforehand to prepare all of the circumstances, given all the circumstances, to prepare for a worst case scenario. To anticipate.
When you have precious cargo, when you have vulnerable cargo, if a person is driving with, 100 cartons of eggs, they're going to be a little more careful than if they're driving around with 20 cans of, vegetables. You got to be aware of who your passengers are. And he was acutely aware of who they were. First of all, because he's known many of them for years. Second of all, because he and his wife were supplying many of them with alcohol. And third, because we can see the girls are obviously having a good time and they've already talked about the fact that they were consuming. I'm not charging him with, providing alcohol to minors. But the fact that that did happen does go to the vulnerability of his passengers, and it means that he has a duty to keep them safe. And could he have maybe done that better by driving slower, by maybe operating his vessel on the proper side of the channel? All of those things are things that go to his culpable negligence. And the concept that...
So he becomes culpably negligent in your argument. And it's gross and flagrant, because it has to be gross and flagrant and apparent by, for example, not supplying life vests to all girls, by not driving slower. Is that what you...
What I would say, Your Honor, is this. If there was no one on that vessel besides the defendant and his wife, and if his wife was in a life jacket, but he was traveling at this rate of speed, following this course that we know down the Cutter Bank Channel and slammed into that channel marker, if God forbid his wife had died, he would be guilty of reckless homicide. He would be guilty of vessel homicide because his decision to operate his vessel in that way, where it was likely that death or great bodily harm would result, was reckless. But what makes this cross that threshold from reckless into culpable negligence is the fact that the boat wasn't just with one other person, and the other people on that vessel were not wearing life jackets. The people on that vessel were minors. The people on that vessel, many of them had been consuming alcohol. The defendant himself admits that he had been consuming alcohol. And so that's what makes this, for lack of a better term, reckless plus. And that is why the state charged him not just with vessel homicide, but also with manslaughter. Also factoring in, forget about the navigational rules for a charge of vessel homicide, but we know what they are. The jury's heard evidence of it. The court obviously can take judicial notice of what the navigational rules are. And then when we compound that recklessness with the fact that he is obviously not keeping lookout, when we compound it with the fact that he's operating at a speed that's not safe, that he did not do anything to avoid A, the risk of a collision, or B, to avoid the collision itself, that's what places this case in the category of reckless plus. And that's why the state submits, Judge, that viewing the light most favorable to the state, this court has to deny the motion for a judgment of acquittal.
Yeah, it sort of sounds like she's saying that he actually did intend to run into the piling. Because now she's saying that he turned, went straight ahead, and he took no action as if he intended to do it. But I thought when we started this conversation, we understood that that's not what the state's theory at least was until today. Till today, the theory was he didn't see the piling. If he had, he'd be charged with murder. It sounds to me like she's now saying, well, maybe he did commit murder.
I'm not sure I can interpret the argument.
Well, what is she saying? That because he'd been there before, he should have known it was there and he should have taken action to avoid it? Okay, as if he knows it's there and he's still driving in a way that is going to put everybody in harm's way with some mens rea. Up till now, I thought their theory was that he just didn't see it. Had he seen it, he obviously would not have kept going to hit it. And when he got, apparently the boat took evasive action within a second or so of striking the piling when it became clear that there was going to be a collision, an elision. So it sounds to me that they're sort of mixing the two concepts. I think that there's no evidence that, as she said, he was blindfolded. And the case law is just super clear. Let's just go to the cases, and these are the instructions that I understand you'll be giving the jury from the Esposito case. Neither carelessness nor ordinary negligence in the operation of a vessel are sufficient to sustain a conviction for vessel homicide. Simple negligence cannot by itself give rise to criminal liability. Quote, the degree of culpability required for a vehicular homicide, vessel homicide, is more than a mere failure to use ordinary care. Speed alone does not constitute reckless conduct unless the speed is shown to be grossly excessive. The presence of central nervous system depressants like alcohol in the bloodstream after the crash in and of itself is insufficient to support a finding of reckless operation of a vessel. So you see these cases continue to make clear it's just not enough even to have alcohol in your system is not enough. And here there's no evidence of impairment. The state must prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the act was not the result of momentary lapse of memory, inattention, or mistake of judgment. A finding of simple inattentiveness is woefully insufficient to state a prima facie case of reckless driving, open paren, willful and wanton driving behavior. That's State versus Esposito, a direct quote. And so you have a standard here that requires some intentional act, but not simply he intended to drive the vessel. We all understand he was intending to operate the vessel. The question is, was he intending to put his passengers in harm's way and intentionally aiming at the marker, which I thought we understood would constitute a depraved heart and could support murder if his intention was to hit the marker. And then the idea that if there's a carton of eggs on board, that somehow changes the duty of care. I think that's the analogy that the state was using. The fact that some of the passengers may be of a younger age or some are intoxicated. Of course, if he hits the piling, whether you're intoxicated or not, whether you're old or young, that could cause serious injury, bodily harm, and death. So again, I think they continue to define the crime by the elision itself. And under their theory, catastrophic injury coupled with an elision equals reckless per se. That's what they're telling you. Ask the state to define a scenario where that wouldn't be the case. Elision plus catastrophic injury. That's what they're relying upon to say that when that happens, it's a crime. But that's not what the case law.
Okay, guys, so live court is about to start. I am going to go ahead and put us into live court. I'll disable the chat so we can hear exactly what she's talking about. And if you want to chat, you can go over to Discord and kind of chat about what the results are, unless you want to wait until we actually are delayed, and I'll be able to enable the chat again. Okay, here we go, guys.
So that means that you still have 100 milligrams.
All right, good morning, everyone. State of Florida versus George Pino, parties announced.
Good morning, Honor. Laura Adams and Jonathan Borst on behalf of the state of Florida.
Good morning, Your Honor. On behalf of George Pino, who's present, Howard Strebnick, Mark Shapiro, Ed Armelino, and Janelle Gomez. Good morning.
This is working the way in. Mr. Pino, would you please stand and raise your right hand and be sworn? You swore affirming the testimony you give will be the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I do.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. I heard an argument yesterday late afternoon on the defense first motion for judgment of acquittal. The court has considered the defense first motion for judgment of acquittal as to both counts. Defense argues the state has failed to establish the elements of anything greater than negligence, and the state must make a prima facie showing that the evidence establishes that Pino was more than negligent in his conduct, and the court must view the evidence in the light most favorable to the state. Having reviewed, listened to the evidence, the testimony and the evidence, reviewing the evidence, the court respectfully denies the defense motion for judgment of acquittal as to both counts 1 and 2. Proceed.
Ready to proceed, Judge. We're going to recall Lieutenant Paul Albert to present the additional information and a few additional
From
questions.
yesterday, okay.
Just give me a minute, I'll have the clerk mark the exhibit.
Sure.
This will be our next exhibit. Judge, we're going to have Mr. Cruz set up the screen. That one?
Ready? Unless you want in the restroom, but just, yeah.
Ready now? All right.
Everyone, please be seated. Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're all doing well. We're ready to proceed. Has anyone seen anything in the news or read anything in the news about this case? Have you done any research or investigation to gather information? Has anyone tried to speak with you or in your presence about the case? Very well. We're ready to proceed now as the state has rested their case. And now, defense, your first witness.
Your Honor, we're going to call Lieutenant Paul Almer.
Sir, please step forward. Swear you, Lieutenant. Thank you.
You swear affirm testimony about to give you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, I do.
Take a seat.
Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning.
May I proceed, Judge?
Yes, sir.
Lieutenant, yesterday when you were here, we talked about some issues regarding tides and such. Since the time we spoke, you did some additional research?
I did.
Okay, great. And you created some visuals for us today?
Yes.
And you put them on a thumb drive this morning?
Yes.
And I marked it as for ID Defense Exhibit A14 and seek its admission at this time.
No objection, Judge.
No objection.
814, March for identification, defense exhibit L.
So this is now Defense Exhibit L. Now I'd like to thank you. So Lieutenant, yesterday we were talking about the area where the incident occurred, and this is State's Exhibit number 2. We'll just use my finger for the moment. You see that your Cutter Bank channel, there is Totten Key?
Yes.
Sorry.
That's okay.
And you see that that's on the east side of Cutter Bank.
Yes.
And on the west side of Cutter Bank, there's an area called East Arsenicer.
Yes.
Correct. And overnight or this morning, did you take tide readings from those 2 locations and put them on the thumb drive for us?
Excuse me. I got the tide data from the NOAA tide charts.
Okay, so if you would tell the jury, what is NOAA and how do you spell that?
NOAA, NOAA, it's National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. They make all these charts and they provide weather and tide and forecast.
And you consider that a reliable source for tidal information?
It's a basic standard in navigation.
Okay. And you were able to read from the information available from NOAA, when was high tide at Totten Key on September 4, 2022? And when was high tide at East Arsenica on that same date? Yes. Okay. So I would ask that we publish at this time your exhibits for that purpose. Let's start with on September 4th, 2022 with class of 8. Okay. And you have your computer, you want to rely on this just the same? And maybe you can have a seat here with us. Okay. And so September 4, 2022, oh, I have a pointer today. I think. Does this show that on Sunday, September 4, at 2022, that the reading at Totten Key for high tide was at 6:19 p.m.? Yes. And the elision occurred at 6:37 p.m.
Yes. Okay, about 20 minutes later.
So just shy of 20 minutes after the high tide at Totten Key.
Yes.
Okay. Now let's look at East Arsenica. Yes, please. East Arsenica for September 4, 2022. Where do we see the high tide time for that?
You can see this is the high point right here, 1.09 feet above the mean. And so it's a little bit after 6.
Do you remember that it's precisely, and if you have to check your information, that the reading was at 6:38 p.m.?
Sounds about right.
Okay, so to be clear, at Totten Key, 6:19 p.m. is high tide. Let's go back to that previous one. See where we
That's
are.
the date of the reconstruction. Those are the last one.
Keep going back. And what does this mean, plus 1.39?
So there's a mean water level, and then plus 1.39 is 1.39. So 1 1/3 foot, about 18 inches above the mean, and so it's just barely going below the mean at low tide like that.
Okay. And so at 6:19 p.m. on the day of the incident, high tide at Totten Key was 6:19 p.m. Yes. And if we go to the next chart at East Arsenica, which is also on the map, that high tide event occurred at 6:38 p.m., 1.09 feet above the mean. Yes. Now, the incident occurred basically in between East Arsenica and Totten Key.
Yes.
Right? Incident is right around here, and there's East Arsenica. Yes. There's Totten Key, as they can see on State's Exhibit number 2. Right. Thank you. Now, let's take a look at the date of the recreation of the by Lieutenant Thompson, and you were on that one as well. High tide on June 9 of 2025 at Totten Key was 10:12 a.m. And it was at 1.12 feet. Okay. So on the day of the recreation, high tide didn't get quite as high as it did on the day of the elision, correct?
Yeah, within a few inches, yes.
Okay. Instead of 1.39, it's only 1.12.
So it would have been 14 inches instead of 18 inches.
Fair enough. And for this one, we just did top and key for comparison purposes. Now, when you and Lieutenant Thompson were doing the recreation, that was sometime before 9 a.m.?
It was the first pictures that I took, the picture of the channel marker with the buoy was just after 9, and then we did construct the runs through afterwards, but it took a little bit of time because we had to get the drone going. There were a lot of moving parts that day.
Got it.
So it was pretty close to high tide by the time.
Got it. Okay, so that deals with the tide issue. Now, when you had done your report, you had recorded on your report that high tide on the day of the incident was 10:29 p.m.
Yes.
And that's 4 hours later than we are revealing today.
Yes.
And could that have been because it was on Greenwich time instead of Eastern Daylight Time, or do you know why that happened?
It could have been a different tide station. I mean, the tide fluctuates. The tide is hours different between North Biscayne Bay and South Biscayne Bay, East and West. It could have been a number of factors. I don't remember which source that I used to grab that time.
And do you know what source Lieutenant Thompson was using to determine tide when he testified?
No.
Okay, so that's the tide issue. Now, I also asked, and you were good enough to do another demonstrative showing at what point along the path of the Robalo that if the operator was looking down the channel at a moment in time, marker 13A would obscure marker 15.
Yes.
And you were able to do a study of that, yes?
Yes.
And if we can just put that on the screen. That's why I invited you to sit if you'd like, so you don't have to get up and down. It's up to you.
I need the exercise. That's the first one.
Hang on one second.
That's the second one. Yeah, that's 13.
That's okay. Hold on. Go to the next one. There we go. Okay. So what you did in this exercise is you plotted. Got it? Oh, great. You basically plotted a line between marker 15, 13A, and see where would that intersect along the path of the Robalo. In what this exercise revealed was that at timestamp 6:36:54 p.m., the Robalo was on its path and had the operator looked down the channel, 13A would have obscured 15. Yes. Okay. And to remind everyone, the elision occurred at 6:37:28.
Yes.
So that would be roughly 34 seconds before impact? Great. Thank you for that. Well, before you get up 1 second.
Sure.
There was also another point in time where marker 13 might have obscured marker 15 in the distance, correct? Let's show that one for the jury. No? Okay. Okay. And so at this moment in time, 6:35:26, you draw a straight line from where the Robalo was through marker 13 to 15. At that moment in time, marker 13 would have obscured 15.
Yes.
But that's a way distance back.
I should give you some reference. This is the second to last track point here. So this distance was 622 red meters. So you can see this is over a mile and a half.
Okay. And time-wise, this occurred at 6:35:26 p.m. The elision was at 6:37:28, right? So that's roughly a couple of minutes before impact. Okay, thank you for that. Are there any other exhibits on this before we make the witness sit? The sun. Okay. You also did a study of the sun, right?
Yep.
Tell us what you found out about that.
So I found out that NOAA has a tool that you can calculate the angle of the sun in a particular place on the face of the earth on a particular day. So I took that data and roughly plotted it to have an idea. So this is the southbound track of the Robalo. This is 8 and 9. This is, I think it's pretty close to 9 or 10 and 11 right here, so kind of midway through the channel. And this line here represents the bearing that the sun would have been to the boat as it's heading south in the channel. And then the elevation, so with this, if I'm looking forward on the boat, the sun is on my right side, and then the angle of elevation is just shy of 6 degrees above the visible horizon. So the sun is on its way down.
Now, actually the boat is, although we call it a southbound channel, the boat is actually traveling southwest, right?
And if you look at the little icon up here, you can see north is up. So this would be kind of a little bit northeast to southwest.
So if the boat was traveling southbound, it would have been like my pen is right now, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So the boat was traveling, this would be directly west this way.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so the sun was off the operator's right shoulder, so to speak.
Yes.
So if the operator is driving down and looks to the right, that the sun is off his right shoulder.
Yes.
And how high off the horizon would that be?
Low.
So
6 degrees. If you think about 0, 90, it's 6. So it's sun flow on the horizon.
Okay. Got it. Thank you for that. In terms of the display, I think we're done. A few questions, and I think we'll be through. There were a couple observations that you made that I wanted to ask you briefly about. The Robalo had twin 300 horsepower engines, right?
Yes.
For a total of 600 horsepower.
Yes.
The Robalo is built and the manufacturer rates it for 700 horsepower, right?
Yes.
So someone could choose to equip the Robalo with larger engines than this Robalo was equipped with.
Yes.
100 horsepower more.
Yes.
And is Robalo a boat that's been a reputable boat for decades?
It depends on your. It's a decent boat.
It's been around for a long time.
It's been a long. It's one of the many boats where it started as a local manufacturer. I think here in Miami, built a quality boat that's been absorbed by a huge conglomerate and is built, mass produced. I think in Mississippi or Alabama, somewhere up there, they built a lot of boats.
Okay. You discussed the lookout rule. Question, is it the lookout rule allows one person to operate a boat with no one else on the boat?
Yes.
Okay. And we see police officers operating solo from time to time?
I did many years.
Okay. The prosecutor asked you yesterday about passing on the right. Did you say stay to the right? I think you said is like on a highway or on a road.
Yes.
In Cutter Bank Channel, it is permitted, is it not, for the operator of a boat to navigate outside of the channel if there's enough water depth?
It's not against any of the rules to operate outside of the channel. No.
Okay. The channel is meant for boats that for sure need that depth of water, a large boat with a big keel, right?
Yes. I mean, a prudent operator would choose to operate in the channel, given the choice between a known maintained waterway and a shallow bank. A prudent operator would typically stay in the channel.
In this Cutter Bank Channel, there's enough water given the draft of the Robalo for the Robalo to operate outside of the channel.
In some areas.
And when an operator is in the channel, the operator can exit the channel at any point in time, provided there's no risk of a collision.
Yes.
And the operator can go to the left of the marker or the right of the marker, provided there's no risk of collision with another vessel.
I'm going to need a little bit more than that. Like, can you be a little more specific?
Yeah, someone's going down the channel southbound and wants to just sort of head into the flats. If there's no oncoming traffic, the operator can make a left turn and head into the flats and go that way.
Yes.
Personal flotation devices, PFDs, life preservers, life savers. There's no requirement that they be worn by the passengers of a boat of the size of the Robalo while it's underway, correct?
Correct.
The so-called kill switch, there's no requirement that a boat of that size have a kill switch, correct?
No, there's not.
No requirement.
No.
Flares. There's flares on their label sometimes expire.
Yes.
Okay. And flares that are expired can still work, although they may not be acceptable under some regulation.
They might still work
if they're kept in the right condition.
A lot of people misunderstand the rules, though. All the safety gear that's kept on the boat has to be in a serviceable condition. So having unserviceable flares is technically a violation. Do I write tickets for that? No, but I would tell people you need to get rid of those. And it's not easy to get rid of them because it's a hazardous material. But all the equipment on your boat, the safety equipment, should be in serviceable condition.
And do you know whether the flares on the Robalo were in serviceable condition?
No.
You just don't know?
No.
One moment. Cutter Bank Channel in 2022 had no posted speed limit, correct?
It doesn't have a speed limit the way we think about speed limits on the road, no.
Okay. There are channels that do have posted speed limits, correct?
They're the exception, not the norm.
Coming into a marina, for example, might have a sign that says no wake.
It does, yes.
And that means the boat shouldn't generate any waves or wake, right?
Correct.
Some channels, including the intercoastal, have speed limitations, like Malloy Channel in Miami Beach, right?
They do.
Could be a 30-mile-per-hour speed limit in Malloy Channel right here in Miami Beach.
Correct. Again, though, that's the exception, not the norm.
And those speed limits change season to season in some instances, right?
Yes.
Malloy Channel here in Miami Beach has a speed limit at some times of the year that's 30 miles per hour, other 35, whatever it might be. Other times of the year, there's no posted speed limit, right?
Objection leading.
Good. Probably sustain.
Okay. Do speed limits within the same channel sometimes change during the time of year?
Yes.
Okay. Cutter Bank had no speed limits posted at all, correct?
There's speed limits everywhere, just not the way that we associate speed limits on the road.
No posted sign saying speed limit at Cutter Bank Channel back in 2022, correct?
There's not a numerical speed. There's not a numerical speed limit for Cutter Bank Channel.
Neither then nor now.
Correct.
Thank you. That's all I have there.
Hello again.
Hello.
Let's talk about that Robalo.
Okay.
It's not a Grady White, is it?
It's not a Grady White. It's not a CV. It's not a
For
contender.
jurors who may not know, isn't it true that Grady White is considered one of the best kind of recreational vessels that people can have?
I mean, they have Grady White has a good reputation, yes.
Now that that Robalo vessel, which is the subject of this case, even if it's capable of going, say, 54, 55 miles per hour with twin 300 horsepower engines, on the day in question, September 4th of 2022, that vessel was not in the condition like it would be for testing for specifications, was it?
It was not. It was not.
It had a lot more people on it than it would have for testing for the specifications.
Yes,
And those extra people added a lot of extra weight to the vessel, correct?
it did.
And that extra weight caused the bow of the boat to be further down in the water, didn't it?
Yes,
And as a result, that vessel would not have been able to go as fast as what was done when it was tested for the specifications.
Correct.
And as a consequence, when we see the speed of that vessel traveling between 43 and 47 miles an hour, that's indicative to you, given the amount of weight on that vessel, that the defendant was operating at full throttle through that channel, right?
So 43, he was probably at the higher ends of the boat's capability with that weight load. At 47, he was, and 47 is an estimate. It could have been 45, but it also could have been 50. It's in my opinion, it's wide open throttle, or very close to wide open throttle. And I back up a little bit. You asked about capability. You should not. Capability has nothing to do with safety or reason. Capable doesn't correlate with safe or reasonable.
Gotcha. Speaking of safe and reasonable, you were asked questions about speed limits.
Yes.
Through Cutter Bank Channel.
Yes.
Now, in point of fact, every operator of a vessel in the state of Florida has to obey a speed limit that's set forth in Navigational Rule 6, don't they?
6 and 2, yes.
So let's talk for a minute about Navigational Rule 6.
Okay.
What does that require every operator of a vessel in the waters of Florida to do?
It requires them to operate at a speed that's under the conditions the operator is able to see and identify the risk of a potential collision and still have time, given that speed, to react and avoid the collision.
Given what we've seen from the GPS data that came from the defendant's vessel, he was not operating at a speed that allowed him to avoid the channel marker, was he?
Objection.
We've seen the GPS data from the defendant's vessel. Was he able to avoid the channel marker?
No.
He hit it, right?
He did.
And he hit it at almost 50 miles an hour.
Yes.
If not maybe even at 50 miles an hour.
Yes.
And he had it with a bunch of teenagers on his vessel, correct?
Yes.
Is that something like having a bunch of kids in the back of a pickup truck and taking them out for a ride through the open fields? Were they secured?
I'm sorry?
Were those teenagers secured?
There are no seatbelts or any other really restraint devices on a boat. In fact, people can move around, shift around inside of a boat.
Now, in terms of the tides that you were looking at, what would be the maximum difference in the water height on that channel marker between the date of the crash and the time of the crash on September the 4th, 2022, and the date and the time when that crash reconstruction was done in June of last year?
A few inches.
Is there any reason to think that the tides obscured anyone's view of channel marker 15 on September the 4th of 2022?
None at all.
Now, you also did a calculation about where the sun would have been in relation to the defendant as he's traversing through that channel.
Yes.
Is there any way that the sun blocked his view or caused glare that would keep him from being able to see channel marker 15?
Seems pretty unlikely.
Is it your opinion that the sun in any way contributed to this crash?
No.
You also were asked about whether or not channel marker 13A, the one before 15, would block the view of channel marker 15 from where the defendant's track was.
Yes.
Did channel marker 13 block the view of channel marker 15?
No, it didn't.
And can you explain to the members of the jury, you talked about how far away
Yes.
the defendant's vessel would have had to be for channel marker 13A to block channel marker 15.
Sure.
From that distance, even if channel marker 13 was not there, would channel marker 15 be visible to an operator of a vessel?
When we were out there that day, channel marker 15 was coming into view as we were passing between markers 12 and 13. And that straight line from 15 through 13 up to the track line where it intersects with the boat's course was several hundred feet north of 12 and 13. So it doesn't seem to me that even if the two had a line, you wouldn't be able to see 15, because even if you could see it, it would have been so small, it would have been behind the marker.
So 13A didn't really ever block the view of channel marker 15, because from the distance where they would align, you'd be so far away, you wouldn't see channel marker 15 anyway.
Objection. I think the prosecutor is confusing 13A with 13.
Channel marker 13A.
Yes.
That channel marker does not block the view of channel marker 15, except from a distance where you couldn't see channel marker 15 anyway.
Correct. Where the boat was that day, that's correct, yes.
Now, yesterday, Mr. Shrevenick said, hi, I've not met you before, right?
Yes.
And you haven't met Mr. Shrevenick before yesterday, right?
I have not.
But you didn't mind doing some extra homework for him, did you? Okay. Did you charge him for this work?
No.
You charging the state attorney's office for that extra homework?
No.
But this wasn't the first time you ever spoke with a member of the defense team, right?
Correct.
In fact, you spoke with Mr. Shapiro, Mr. Shrevenick's partner previously, right?
Yes.
And that actually was on Tuesday, January the 6th, 2026, right?
I'll take your word for it.
I'll tell you what,
Yes.
with looking at this refresher recollection.
Sure. It looks like January 6th, 2026.
And how long, when did that deposition start and when did it end?
It started at 1:38 p.m. and ended at 5:20 p.m.
So a couple hours.
Couples 2. My math is 4.
Okay, nothing else.
Who's counting?
Yes, please. So I want to make sure that we're talking marker to marker here.
Yes.
At one point, the prosecutor was talking about marker 13,
Yes.
then 13A. Those are
Yes.
two very different markers.
They are. I mean, yes. Yes, they are.
So let's be clear with the jury,
Okay.
okay? Because Carlos, can we have?
Yep. GH9.
So, Carlos, if you could read thumb drive.
The first one, today's. Thank you. No, I need today. Today's? And yesterday's. Okay.
Take a second. Okay, while he's rebooting the computer, let's talk about the view of the pilot, of the operator of the vessel.
Yes.
So prosecutor was asking about obscure view from the operator's point of view, right?
Yes.
Okay. We talked yesterday about passengers seated in the bow.
Yes.
And I'll use the phrase with their butts on the cushion, right? There would be torsos and heads above the gunnel line.
Yes.
And if they're waving their hands,
Yes.
that combination, in your perspective, would obscure the view of the operator, right?
And it would have been his responsibility to recognize that problem and address it immediately because it caused him safety problem.
Fair enough.
Yes.
But to be clear, it is your view, as you testified in that deposition,
Yes.
that the passengers seated were on the cushions, designated seating by Roballo, simply waving their hands
Yes.
would obscure the view of the marker.
Yes.
And it might mean that the operator of the vessel wouldn't see the marker when that's going on.
Yeah. Yes. That's his responsibility.
And your view is, as you said it 3 times now, it would have been his responsibility to have the girls stop putting their hands on it, right?
Yes. You also used the term designated seating. Again, I'm going to refer back to what I said before. Just capability doesn't mean that it's safe, and it's not always safe to be seated in that spot.
And by the way, if the boat had not alighted with the marker, okay?
Yes.
There'd be no suggestion, nobody would have been injured, correct?
Not given the circumstances that we've had.
This was a calm day.
Yes.
Right? The
Is
seat.
objection leading?
You're right. Describe for the jury the conditions of the day.
So the prevailing circumstances was that the day was a light chop.
Okay.
Yes.
There was still an hour's worth of sunlight.
Yes.
Okay. And this Robalo, it may not be a Grady White.
Yep.
But this Robalo is rated to have even more horsepower than it did.
Objection leading?
Okay. Are you able to get that up? Okay, let's do it. Now, let's start with, let's just do marker 13A. Second one. Exhibit. We're in exhibit L. Okay. We talked earlier that where 13A obscures 15 is at 6:36:54 p.m. Yes. Are you telling the jury that marker 15 was not visible at that time, or it was?
So when I was out there, naked eye, when I was passing between 12 and 13, 15 is just starting to come into view.
So your testimony now is that this is roughly 34 seconds to impact?
Yes.
That at 34 seconds to impact, your recollection is that marker 15 is barely even visible?
Objection leading?
Is it, point blank, is it visible or not with 34 seconds to go?
At 34 seconds up here, traveling 43 miles an hour, it was not visible here. It's just coming into view as you cross between 12 and 13. You can see it pretty clearly up here. You can see it very clearly here.
Okay. Yesterday, we showed the jury exhibit, I think it's G.
Yes.
Okay. And we're going to put it up, enlarge it. Okay. We see 13.
Yep.
We see 13A.
Yep.
We see 14 and 15 in the distance, right?
Yes.
Are you saying this was not visible on the day of the impact?
Objection leading?
I'm asking, was it or wasn't it visible, 15, on the day of the impact?
I don't know where that picture, what perspective that picture was taken from, or what zoom rating it was on the camera. I'm telling you from the naked eye, when I was running the boat, I'm sorry, when Thompson was running the boat through the markers here, when we were at 12 and, not 13, 15. This is much closer.
Okay.
This is much closer.
Right.
This is on the approach to 13.
Let's go to the next one. Go to the next one.
Again, it's coming into view here. You can see just a little bit of green marker right there.
Okay. True or false?
This is closer, and I don't know how far you have your lens zoomed in, but this is closer than where the intersection of the lines are.
Okay. So I'm just trying to understand from your perspective, with 34 seconds to go to impact, was marker 15 visible to the operator?
It's coming into view. It would be coming into view if it was in front.
And at 34 seconds to go, if it's coming into view, it's still being obscured by marker 13A. correct?
Objection leading?
Was it being obscured by 13A?
Objection calls for speculation.
I'll rephrase. Did the exercise you did for the jury show to the jury that with 34 seconds to go, 13A obscures 15.
Let me see if I can. For a moment in time, it's supposed going 43 miles an hour to the channel. At an instant in time, this marker 15 is just coming into view, would have been obscured for a brief moment by 13A.
Fair enough. And so to finish our conversation today, with 9 seconds to go, if the operator had seen the marker, that would have provided sufficient time to avoid the elision. 9 seconds to go.
9 seconds? Yes.
8 seconds to go.
Yes.
7 seconds to go.
Yes.
6.
Potentially.
5.
Yes.
4.
Now he needs to make an adjustment. Under the rules, it says that you have to take early and substantial action. Of course, Mariner wouldn't wait 4 seconds to make a maneuver.
Okay, 3 seconds might be too late. With 3 seconds to go.
Then you're making an abrupt maneuver with a heavy load on the boat.
And so if the operator didn't see the marker for whatever reason, whatever distraction, the operator would have lied with the marker, right?
Yes.
Thank you. No further questions.
One time evidence. Thank you. The witness is excused. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're just confirming that the next one is.
Next witness, please.
The defense calls Claudia Porto Carrero.
One moment, Ron.
Please step forward, face the clerk. Raise your right hand and be sworn.
Do you swear affirm testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Thank you. Keep your voice down and clear. Microphone's this way, but you do it
Yes.
that way, okay? Thank you.
Good morning. Can you please introduce yourself to the jury?
Yes, hi, my name is Claudia Portocarrero.
And how old are you, Ms. Porto Carrero?
I'm 21.
Are you in school?
Yes,
What school do you go to?
I go to Clemson University.
What are you studying?
I'm studying language and international health.
When do you graduate?
I graduate in May of 2027.
Do you know the Pino family?
Yes, I do.
Can you tell us how you know the Pino family?
Yes, I've known the Pino family my whole life. My mom is cousins with Ceci Georges.
Do you know or did you know Miss Lucy Fernandez?
Yes, I've also known Lucy my whole life.
How did you know Miss Fernandez?
We went to school together since we were 4 years old at Epiphany.
And before September of 2022, did you know Caterina Puig?
Yes,
Can you tell us how you knew Miss Puig?
yes, Kathy was also one of my closest friends. We also started Epiphany together when we were 4 years old.
Are you still friends?
Yes,
Were you at Ocean Reef with the Pinos the weekend of September 4th, 2022?
yes.
What were you doing in Ocean Reef that weekend?
That weekend we were celebrating Ceci's 18th birthday.
Were you on a boat on September 4th, 2022?
Yes,
Were you involved in a boating accident that
Yeah.
day?
yes,
Before the accident, were you at a sandbar?
Yes.
Do you remember the name of the sandbar?
I don't remember.
Do you know how you arrived at the sandbar?
By boat.
Who was driving the boat?
George.
So when you were at the sandbar that day, can you tell us who else was there with you?
Yes. There was 12 girls or 10 girls on the boat, I believe. And there was other boats at the sandbar as well.
Do you remember who was on those other boats?
I remember that there was about 4 boats.
Okay. Can you tell us who was on them, if you remember?
Yes, I remember the Suarez family was there, the Fernandez family, the Portuondos, and the Pardos is who I remember.
Okay. Were there also some boys that were at the sandbar as well?
Yes.
Do you remember who some of those boys were?
I remember a few of them, Diego, Nicholas, and Marco is who I remember. But I know that there was probably about 10 of them.
10 in total.
Yes.
Were you consuming alcohol that day?
Yes.
Do you remember how many drinks you had approximately?
I don't remember exactly how many I had, but I know I had a seltzer and a beer.
When you were at the sandbar, at any point, do you remember if you ever saw Mr. Pino holding an alcoholic drink in his hand?
No.
Do you remember having any conversations with Mr. Pino at the sandbar?
No.
And at the sandbar, you were mostly spending time with your friends?
Yes.
When you were leaving the sandbar, talk to me about when you were leaving the sandbar and what happened.
So when we got back on the boat, pretty much what I remember is we were dancing in the back of the boat, just really having a great time all together. And then we all took our spots and we left.
And was Mr. Pino on this boat as well?
Yes.
Did he seem intoxicated in any way?
No.
Did he seem impaired in any way?
No.
So this accident, did it happen on the way back from Billy's Point back to Ocean Reef?
Yes.
Where were you sitting on the boat, if you remember?
I was sitting towards the front of the boat.
And so during the boat ride back from Billy's Point, can you describe how that boat ride felt?
It felt like nothing out of the ordinary. We were, again, just all really happy and enjoying our time together.
How did the speed of the boat feel to you?
Nothing out of the ordinary.
Did you ever tell Mr. and Mrs. Pino to slow down or to change the way that they were operating the boat?
No.
And prior to the accident, had you been on a boat before?
Yes.
Do you recall how many times, more or less? I know it's hard to tell, but if you can describe for us how many times you've been on a boat before.
I would consider myself a pretty experienced boater. My family never owned a boat, but I had gone on boats with my friends my whole life.
Had you been on a boat with Mr. Pino before?
Yes.
And this boat ride on September 4th, prior to the accident, did it feel any different than any other boat ride you've taken in your life?
No.
So back to September 4th, that boat ride from the sandbar to Ocean Reef. What were you and the rest of the girls doing during the boat ride?
I just remember we were really happy, singing, enjoying our time together.
So there was music playing?
Yes.
And you mentioned everyone was sitting. Everyone was sitting on the cushion of the boat?
Yes, in the respective spots.
Was anybody sitting, and I learned this term just the other day, so it's okay if you don't know it. Was anybody sitting on the gunnel of the boat? It's like the railing. See that railing over there, kind of the railing of a boat?
No.
None of the girls were sitting on top of that?
No.
Okay. So you were saying that some of the girls were singing and they were dancing in their chairs. Did any of the girls have their hands up in the air?
Yes, I would say a good amount of us probably, as we were singing.
Okay. Now, what happened after the accident, after the impact?
I just remember opening my eyes after the impact and seeing a lot of white. And the first thing I saw when I opened my eyes was George, and I thought he was dead. I just saw a lot of blood gushing, and then my friends were telling me that I had to get out of the boat. And by the time I was going to get off the boat, it was kind of almost like flipped. So instead of jumping from the boat, I practically stepped into the water because of how tilted it was. And then I honestly, I don't remember much. I just swam, and I swam to where Ceci was with Gati, and I tried to help her keep her afloat. And then at that point, we saw the rescue boat, and I was just helping wave them down until they were nice enough to help get Gati onto that boat.
Okay, so a moment ago you mentioned that you thought Mr. Pino was dead. This was after the impact. Can you tell us why you thought that? How did he look to you?
Yes, I just thought that because there was a lot of blood gushing from his head and he seemed unconscious.
Do you remember if his eyes were open or closed?
I don't remember.
At some point you said you ended up in the water. Do you remember if anyone said to jump into the water? Did you hear anybody call that out?
Yes. I don't remember exactly who it was, but I know people were telling me I had to get out.
Do you remember if it was a female voice or a male voice that said to jump?
Definitely a female voice.
Okay. One moment, Your Honor. No further questions.
Downside of having this. Judge, I'm sorry, just take a moment. Thank you, Judge. You can bring this way. Hi, my name is Laura Adams. Same. I know this is really hard, okay? But I want to ask you a few questions about that day that the boat crash happened, okay? Were you or any of the other girls wearing life jackets, either to the sandbar or on the way back?
No.
I know you said that you didn't notice if, well, first off, do you see George Pino in the courtroom?
Yes.
Can you please point to him and describe what he's wearing so that our record will be clear?
Yes, he's right over there and wearing a blue tie.
I want to ask you if on the day that this incident happened, I know you said that you had consumed some alcohol.
Yes.
Some of that alcohol came from the boat that Mr. and Mrs. Pino brought you there to the sandbar on, right?
Yes, I got my alcohol from that boat and others as well.
Okay. Did you feel like you were drunk, about to pass out?
No.
Did you feel a little buzzed?
At the maximum, but I did not feel impaired.
Okay, but buzzed, right? Happy, correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay, gotcha. So now you'd agree that maybe people that are buzzed from alcohol are not the best judges of whether somebody else is also buzzed from alcohol, right?
Yes.
Okay. And obviously at this party, you weren't there to hang out with the defendant and his wife. You were there to hang out with your friends and the other boys that were there. Fair to say?
Yes.
So you weren't keeping an eye on everything that the defendant, George Pino, was doing, were you?
No.
And you've known him for a long time, correct?
Yes.
And you had faith and trust that he'd be able to safely take you and your friends back to Ocean Reef for the party that was going to be that night, right?
Yes.
And because you had trust in him, you weren't turning around and looking to be like, oh my gosh, where's this man going to go, were you?
No.
I want to show you a little diagram. It's got a number 11 on it. It's in evidence. I know it's been a long time, but do you think if looking on this exhibit, you'd be able to let us know where you were seated on the way back?
Yes.
Where? Number 12? Why don't you write your name right there by number 12? So, Ms. Carrera, so you're at seat number 12, right?
Yes.
And so if you're at seat number 12, you're kind of actually facing more toward the back of the boat, right?
Yes.
So in order to see what was ahead of you, if you're here at seat number 12, you'd have to be looking like this, right?
Yes.
But you weren't doing that, were you?
No.
Because you trusted that Mr. Pino would get you back safe.
Yes.
Do you remember the, let's say, 5-10 seconds prior to when that crash happened?
I would say 10 seconds before, yes.
And tell us exactly what you were doing then.
I was singing with my friends.
Okay. Did anybody stand up?
No.
In those last 10 seconds, were people holding up their hands to block the defendant's view?
People were waving their hands as they were singing. I'm not exactly sure if they were directly above, but I don't believe so.
Okay. So from your vantage point, there was nothing anybody was doing at the front of that boat that would have made it impossible for the defendant to see what's in front of him, right?
No.
Okay, thank you very much. Oh, wait, actually, I did want to ask you something. Showing you State's Exhibit number 1. This was your friend Lucy, right?
Yes.
And you knew her for how long?
My whole life since we started Epiphany at 4 years old.
I'm sorry for the loss of your friend. I don't have anything else.
Questions, Judge? Thank you. This is excused. Thank you. Defense?
The defense calls Natalia Reed. Natalia Reed.
Please step forward, face the card, raise your right hand and be sworn.
So, put testimony about the people, the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. I do.
Keep your voice down into the microphone. And see, it's this way, but the jury's this way, so keep your voice down.
Good morning, Ms. Reed. Can you please introduce yourself to the jury?
Good morning. I'm Natalia Reed.
And how old are you?
I'm 21.
I need you to speak up.
Sorry, I'm 21.
Are you in school right now?
Yes.
Where are you studying?
I go to Brown University.
What are you studying?
Economics.
And are you currently interning or working somewhere right now?
Yes, this summer I'm doing a management consulting internship.
Do you know where? Can you tell us where?
In New York City.
Thank you for joining us this
Thank
afternoon. Do you know the Pino family?
Yes, I do.
Tell us how you know them.
I went to elementary school with little Sissy, and I've known the Pinos since then. We went to Epiphany together, which was our elementary school.
Did you know Lucy Fernandez?
Yes, we also went to elementary school together.
And before September of 2022, do you know Catalina Puig?
Yes, we also went to elementary school together.
Are you still friends with Ms. Puig?
Yes.
Were you at Ocean Reef with the Pinos on the weekend of September 4th of 2022?
Yes.
Tell us what you were doing in Ocean Reef that weekend.
It was little Sissy's 18th birthday, and the Pinos had taken us to celebrate for the weekend.
Were you involved in a boating accident that weekend?
Yes.
Did this accident occur when you were on your way back to Ocean Reef from a sandbar?
Yes.
And before leaving the sandbar, did you spend some time there?
Yes, we did.
Who was at the sandbar that day?
Like name everyone there, or
from what you remember? Yes.
George and Sissy mom, little Sissy, and some of the girls were Claudia, Pao Garcia, Camila, Katy, Lucy, Carolina, Coco, Mia.
Did some boys join you at the sandbar that day?
Yes.
Do you remember some of their names?
Yes. Diego Suarez, Marco was there, Nicholas Garcia. That's pretty much who I remember.
Okay. Were you consuming alcohol that day at the sandbar?
Yes.
Do you know how many drinks you had?
I remember having 2 or 3. I don't remember feeling impaired or intoxicated.
And when you were at the sandbar, did you see Mr. Pino with any kind of alcoholic drink in his hand?
No, I did not see that.
And were you mostly spending time with your friends there?
Yes.
Okay. And when you were leaving the sandbar, were you on the boat with Mr. Pino?
Yes.
Did Mr. Pino seem intoxicated to you in any way?
No.
Did he seem impaired to you in any way?
No.
And now that boat ride back from the sandbar heading back to Ocean Reef, do you remember where you were sitting on the boat?
I was sitting at the front of the boat. At the front.
Do you remember who was next to you?
I don't remember exactly who was next to me. I think Andrea Knopfler, maybe Pao Garcia.
Can you describe for us what that boat ride was like before the impact?
Yes, I remember leaving Billy's Point, which is the sandbar we were at, and driving to Ocean Reef. I remember we were listening to music and talking amongst each other.
The boat ride itself, was there anything unusual about the way that Mr. Pino was operating the boat?
No, I don't remember thinking that.
Tell us about the speed of the boat. How did that feel to you?
Well, I had gone on the boat with Mr. Pino many times before the accident, so I don't remember feeling it going any faster than our past trips.
I was about to ask you that as well. So September 4th, 2022 it was not your first time on a boat?
No.
Can you tell us how many times, ballpark, that you've been on a boat before?
Yeah, my family doesn't have a boat, but some of our family friends, so maybe once a month, once every 2 months, I'd go on the boat.
And did this boat ride on September 4th, 2022 feel any different than other boat rides you've been on?
No.
Do you remember the weather conditions that day?
I remember it was clear skies, there wasn't a storm, sunny.
Do you remember how the water was?
Pretty flat, I believe.
Okay. So that boat ride back to Ocean Reef, you said you were sitting down. Do you remember all the girls sitting down?
Yes, I do.
Was there anyone standing up at a point?
No.
And was anybody sitting on the gunnel of the boat, like the railing that goes around the boat?
No.
Tell us a little bit about what happened after the impact.
I remember it coming out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting it. I heard a loud hit. I believe I stayed on the boat, so I wasn't ejected. I heard some voices to jump into the water from the boat, so I jumped into the water. And then I remember seeing Big Ceci holding my friend Mia in the water. Mia had some blood on her. I remember Gami Alvarez close to me in the water as well. I remember Mr. Pino with his hands on the boat as it was tipped over at that point. And then a rescue boat came and I got onto that boat.
Okay, so I have a few follow-up questions. So you said at some point you were not ejected from the boat.
No.
You're sitting on the boat and you heard someone say jump.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember who said to jump?
I don't remember.
Do you remember if it was a female voice or a male voice?
I remember it being not just one voice, several voices, but I can't say female or male.
And before you were ejected from the boat, did you see Mr. Pino on the boat?
Yes, I remember for a split second after the accident seeing Mr. Pino laying between the console and the middle of the boat, and his eyes were closed as I remember. Again, it was a split second, so it was a little hazy, but I remember him, he had blood on his head, I think, and I remember thinking he was dead for that split second.
After you got on a Good Samaritan boat, did you see Mr. Pino again?
No. Oh, I guess later, I didn't see him in the water again, but I guess later in the day, he came around in one of the rescue boats.
And you testified earlier that you've known the Pino family, you've known Mr. Pino a long time.
Yes, I have.
Has Mr. Pino ever confused you for Lucy Fernandez before?
No, never.
One moment, Your Honor. No other questions, thank you.
Hi. Good morning still.
Good morning.
My name is Laura Adams.
Nice to meet you.
I know it's not easy to be here, but thank you for being here. The attorney for George Pino asked you about if you were still friends with Kati Puig. Without getting into details, is she the same girl now that she was before that crash?
No.
Is she the same girl now as she was?
No.
On the day of this boat crash, was Kati able to walk around and talk and sing and dance?
Yes.
Judge.
Thank you, Judge. The defense attorney asked you about who drove the boat up to the sandbar and back. I think you said his name was what?
George Pino.
Do you see that person in court today?
Yes.
Can you please point to him and describe what he's wearing so our record is clear?
He's wearing a suit and a blue tie.
Okay.
Stipulate.
Now, on the day that you all were having this party, it was to celebrate his daughter Ceci's upcoming 18th birthday, right?
Yes.
None of you guys were 21 yet at that point, right?
No.
But Mr. and Mrs. Pino had provided in a cooler drinks, including alcoholic drinks that you all wound up drinking that afternoon, right?
There was seltzers in the cooler. Yes.
And those seltzers had alcohol in
Yes.
them, right? And there was some beer in there too?
Yes.
Okay. And the Pinos didn't say, hey, girls, this is off limits, not for you. They didn't do that, did they?
Not that I remember. No.
Okay. And so you didn't feel any, fear that you were going to get into trouble for drinking those seltzers or beers, anything like that, did you?
No.
Okay. Now, were you there at that sandbar to hang out with George Pino and his wife?
We were there to celebrate Ceci's 18th birthday.
Were you there mostly though hanging out with your friends?
Yes.
So you're not like watching George Pino every minute to see how much, if any, alcohol he's drinking, are you?
I don't remember watching to see if he was drinking alcohol. No.
Okay. He wasn't your focus, right?
No.
Your friends were your focus.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Now, it's been a long time. You're not going to get in any trouble, okay? But that afternoon, do you think that you got to a point where you were like falling down drunk?
No.
Do you think maybe you felt a little buzzed from the alcohol?
Yeah, I remember having like two or three seltzers, so I felt a bit buzzed.
Okay. In your buzzed state, did you tell George Pino, hey, I want to check and see if you're impaired by alcohol?
No.
And do you think that maybe people who are buzzed are not the best shape to determine who else might be buzzed?
I don't know.
Okay. You've been in college?
Yes.
Have you seen people buzzed?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, when you all were coming back from the sandbar to get back to Ocean Reef, was music playing?
Yes, I remember.
What kind of music was it? Do you remember?
I don't remember exactly.
But it was loud enough that you could hear it even over the sound of the engines and the boat going through the waves, right?
Yeah, I remember hearing the music.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm going to show you an exhibit, and it's labeled as State's Exhibit number 11. It's kind of like a cartoon diagram, sort of the boat and the different seats where people could be. Okay. Do you see on this exhibit a location where you remember that you were sitting when this boat crash happened?
I believe that was at 5 or 6.
Okay, so I'll tell you what, let's do this. We'll put arrow to both. Can you put your name on there?
Sure.
And I'm gonna put a little question mark because you're not sure which of those two seats you're at.
I
Is
don't
that
remember
okay?
exactly.
Okay. So pretty much where my finger's pointing to? So Ms. Reed, where you were seated on that vessel, if I were to put myself, let's say, here, in order for you to see what's in front of the boat, you'd have to turn around this way, right?
I'm sorry?
For you to see what was in front of the boat, given where you were seated, you'd have to turn and look kind of behind you to see what's in front of the boat, right?
In front of the boat, yes.
Okay.
I would have to turn to
So where you were seated, if you were looking across, you're looking kind of more toward where the back of the boat would be, right?
Yes.
So as you're seated there, are you, looking around to see what's ahead of the boat, or are you kind of just looking at your fellow friends, things like that?
I was looking at my friends. I wasn't looking at
Okay. And speaking of the friends that were on the boat, there's a a seat number 9 and the name Lucy. Is that where you remember that Lucy was seated that afternoon?
Yes.
Okay. After that crash, were you one of the girls that was brought by the police over to an island while, they were trying to sort out everything that had happened?
Yes.
And some of the other girls that were not badly injured were brought there too, right?
Yes.
And during that time, did you see the defendant at that island?
Yes.
And the police, they didn't have him in handcuffs, did they?
Not that I remember. No.
He was able to walk around, right?
Yeah.
Did you have any kind of interaction with him?
I think we had a brief interaction. I don't remember what it was about, but I remember seeing him.
Okay. And then I just wanted to ask you, I'm showing you a picture. It's in evidence, and it states exhibit number 1 in evidence. Is this your friend, Lucy?
Yes.
And you knew her for how long?
Since elementary school.
Thank you. I don't have any more questions for you. I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
No redirect, Judge.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Don't you need a moment?
Yeah, just give me some.
All right. Name of the witness, James?
Hamlet Rodriguez.
Step forward, raise your right hand and be sworn.
Please, affirm testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Take a seat.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
State your name, please, for the record.
My name is Hamlet Rodriguez.
Mr. Rodriguez, my name is Mark Shapiro. I think you know that I represent George Pino. Is that correct?
Yes.
Prior to coming here to court today, do you know who George Pino is?
No.
Have you ever met George Pino prior to September 4th, 2022?
No.
Do you recall where you were during the Labor Day weekend in September of 2022? That would have been September 3rd, I think, through September 5th.
Yes.
And please tell the jury what.
I was spending the day on Elio Key with some friends on a boat.
And without telling us the last names of your friends, can you tell us what their first names are?
Yes, Marlene and Manny.
And Marlene and Manny are married, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Do you recall when it was that, let me ask you, you said you spent the weekend with Marlene and Manny?
Yes, we were spending the weekend on the Killard.
Were you staying in a hotel with them, in a home, what kind of thing?
No, they own a property there.
Do you recall when it was that you arrived at Manny and Marlene's house that weekend?
Was Saturday, I think morning.
All right, so that would have been September 3rd then, is that right?
Yes.
Were there some plans that were made at any time Saturday with possibly going out on the water the next day, Sunday?
Yes, we were planning to go on the boat.
Manny has a boat, I presume?
Yes, sir.
Was the plan that you and your wife and Manny and his wife would spend the day together on the boat?
Yes.
And you are married, is that correct?
33 years, still counting.
Right. Good. I'm not quite there yet, but, and what is your wife's name?
Ana Rodriguez.
All right, so plans are made to go out on Manny's boat Sunday morning. or Sunday, the next day. Were there any specific plans, if you recall, as to where you would be going, what you would be doing, that kind of thing?
Yeah, there's many places to go, but that day we decided to go to Elliott, specifically to Billy's Point.
Had you been there before, Billy's Point?
Thousands of times.
Very popular place for
Yes.
boats, shallow water, correct? So people can get off the boat when they get there, right? Is that right?
Yes, sir.
It's only ever probably waist deep when it's at its deepest point.
Objection leading.
Don't even use it, please. Okay.
It's a nice place to go to spend the day.
Yes.
Now, on your way back from Billy's Point, do you recall before leaving approximately what time you left Billy's Point?
It was around 6:40, 6:45 that we decided to go because we were having electrical problems at the boat.
Was there some, were the lights affected by this problem on the boat?
Yes.
And explain, if you will, for the jury, the significance of lighting on the boat. Which specific lights are you talking about?
Because we were an hour away from our destination, so we were planning to go before the sun come down.
And what is your understanding as to the lighting requirement on boats when the sun goes down?
Yes.
What's your understanding, what you need to do?
Yeah, we need lights to be able to go on a boat at night.
That's so other boats can see you for safety reasons, right?
Objection leading.
Did at some point, do you recall the route that you took back to Key Largo from Billy's Point to Key Largo?
Yeah, we were going to the channel, going to from Elliott to the Keys. So that's what we saw the incident. At the moment we arrived, there were one boat. It was very crowded. They have many people on it, and there was another boat that was upside down, and it was a man hanging there. As soon as we arrived there, the other boat was shouting to us as, shut down the engines, shut down the engines.
Let me just stop you for a moment. This other boat, had you ever seen that other boat before?
No, only that day.
Did you make any assumptions as to who the people were on this other boat?
I have no clue.
Did you see people in the water as you drove up to the area?
I saw a man hanging to the boat that was upside down.
Did you see on this other boat anyone who you thought might have been passengers on this boat that had been turned over?
The only thing that I saw was the boat was crowded. There was too many people on that boat. I have no idea what's going on. I thought it was an accident that just occurred.
Can you describe the way the boat that the man was hanging on to? Was it still floating or was it?
No, it was upside down.
So that the bottom of the boat is facing up, is that right?
Yes.
When you see this man hanging from the side of the boat, did you recognize that person?
Nope.
And no idea who that person was?
Nope.
Did you even know if it was a man or a woman?
No, I saw it was a man.
What did you do at that point?
As soon as that we arrived, when they would start shouting again, shut down the engines, it was because there was somebody's missing. I have no idea what's going on. So we shut down the engines and we start drifting again with the boat that was an accident. My friend Marlene started shouting, look under the boat, look under the boat, under the boat.
Who is she shouting to?
To the guy who was hanging on the boat.
And just for reference, Marlene is Manning's wife?
Yes, sir.
Please continue.
So he went on the boat, and we were approximately 50 feet away.
Who went under the boat? Who went under the boat?
The guy was hanging into the boat.
All right.
So when he went in, he brought someone, and I jumped into the ocean right away, trying to help him. And as soon as I approached to him, he passed me the person. I have no idea who I was saving.
So just to break it down a bit, when Marlene was shouting to look under the boat, what did you see the person who's hanging on to the boat do?
He went under the boat right away.
And after this person goes under the boat right away, what is the next thing that you see this person do?
When he went on the boat, he came out. I jumped into the ocean. I didn't think. I react.
When the person came back to the surface, was this person holding another person?
Yes.
Could you tell if the person that was being held was a woman or a man, child, teenager, anything like that?
When I approached to him when I was swimming and he passed me the person is when I find out it was a girl.
Did you swim all the way to where the man was by his boat?
Yes.
And when you reached the man by his boat, what happened at that point?
When he passed me the girl, when I was found out, I tried to help her in a way because I used to be a swimmer and play a lot of water polo when I was a kid. So I knew how to manage. So I put her arm into my other arm and lifted her head so she will not drown. And I was trying to swim where the other boat that was crowded, that was on the way, but the current was so strong, I couldn't handle it anymore. So I was drinking a lot of water until the other boat came to me and they hacked into my right hand and took me to the end of the boat to take the girl into their boat.
When you say that you were drinking water, does that mean salt water?
Yes.
And you mentioned another boat. Can you be a little bit more specific? There was a large boat with a lot of people on it. Are you saying there was yet another boat that approached?
Objection leading.
Just trying to set the stage.
Well, I was swimming without to see where I was going specifically because I was trying to be away from the boat that was in the accident, and I knew there was a boy. The boat was coming into my direction of where I was. So as soon as he hung in my right arm, that's why right away I had a feeling that they were helping me.
All right, so just again, this other boat, you said there was somebody in that boat that grabbed your arm?
Yeah, the boat that was crowded with full of people.
Which boat are we talking about here? Are we talking about the large boat that was full of people
Yes.
that came to you?
Yes.
Or the smaller boat came to you and grabbed you?
No, it was a small boat. It was not a bigger boat.
Someone on that small boat came and took you by the arm, is that
Yes.
right? And what happened when they took you by the arm?
They took me at the end of the boat, but right away I was telling, please, put the engine in neutral because I was going into the back. So I was afraid that, it was cause something else. So they grabbed the girl, Lucy, and right away I pushed myself out of it until my friends came to pick me up.
You mentioned Lucy. Did you know the name of the girl that you were helping at that point?
No, I knew Lucy. I knew it was Lucy the next day.
How did you find out the name was Lucy the next day?
When I wake up, my phone was ringing nonstop. There was a lot of people calling me because there were some friends at Ocean Reef that were at the moment that weekend. They were communicating with my wife that night she stayed because when we arrived at the Keys, I didn't want to stay at the Keys. I didn't feel good at it. So I told my wife, I don't want to stay here. I want to go home. So I went home that night around 8 and 9 o'clock, and I went to bed right away. So the next day there were a few friends calling me to asking me what happened because I didn't know what was going on. And I find out that Lucy the Angelito Anteres granddaughter. By the way, I know them very well. They're my neighbors.
So the granddaughter of the individuals that you spoke about, are they related to they're obviously we're talking about the Fernandez family, is that correct?
Yes.
Let me take you back to having handed Lucy off into this other boat.
Yeah.
After Lucy is placed onto the other boat, what did you do at that point?
I pushed myself out of the boat. I started swimming in the middle until my friend came to pick me up. I was so tired. I was feeling so terrible about what's going on because it was a girl, and there's so many things that came into my mind at that time. When he came to my friend boat, they gave me water. I was so thirsty because I was drinking so much salt water. I told them, hey guys, our job is done here. We cannot do anything else. We are an hour away from home. We need to go. We have no lights. So we decided to go.
So you left before police arrived to take any information?
Yes, it was like around 5, 6 or 7 minutes past 7.
Mr. Rodriguez, did there come a point that when you learned the identity of the man that was hanging on the boat and eventually handed you Lucy Fernandez? Did there come a time?
Yes, the next day.
Okay. And who was that person?
Mr. George Pino.
Other than seeing Mr. George Pino at the boat that day, did you see him at any other time since?
No.
Would you be able to recognize him if you saw him today, for example?
Yes.
Do you see him in this courtroom?
Yes.
Please point out and describe a piece of clothing that he's wearing.
Yeah, we have a blue tie and a black tie, suit.
Thank you, Mr.
Mr. Rodriguez,
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sure that must have been a really traumatic event for you.
Yes.
Have you replayed that day in your mind over and over again?
Yes.
Now, the defendant that you identified here, he didn't immediately go under the boat to look for Lucy, did he?
He did right away.
Once you told him to.
No, I didn't talk to him. It was Marlene, the one that was screaming.
When he hears Marlene screaming, he goes under the boat?
Yes.
Were there other people nearby that were also telling him to go under the boat?
Means other people who?
Like other people in other boats that were yelling to him to look under the boat?
We were the second boat there. It was only the boat was carrying the girls and us. I didn't see any other boat.
Okay, so in the moments that you're looking at this man, you don't notice if there's another boat with a couple of men on it telling him to look under the boat?
No.
Okay. Now, when you jump into the water after you see him pull Lucy out from underneath the boat, he hands Lucy to you.
Yes.
So you're the one that actually saves her to the extent that you get her to another vessel, right?
Yes.
And once she gets on that vessel, do you notice if people start trying to do CPR on her?
No.
Did you leave before anybody started doing CPR on her?
I was not be able to see anything inside of the boat. I was in the water.
And at any point in time, did the girl who you were taking from where that boat that was upside down, did she ever appear to be awake or aware of what was going on?
No.
No other questions.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you, this is excused.
Thank you, ma'am.
sir. Yes. Do you have another witness you'd like to call?
Yes. David Rodriguez.
What is the name, sir?
David Rodriguez.
Thank you.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear affirm testimony about to give you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Take a seat.
All right, so please keep your voice up. Microphone is this way, yours is this way. So keep your voice up.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon, sir. Please
Good
introduce
afternoon.
yourself to the jury.
My name is David Rodriguez.
Mr. Rodriguez, you know that I'm Mark Shapiro and I represent George Pino. Is that right?
I do.
You and I, prior to today, have had some interaction in connection with this case, correct?
Correct, yes.
By the way, Mr. Rodriguez, did you happen to notice the gentleman that was walking out of the courtroom as you were walking in?
I saw the gentleman going out here.
His last name is Rodriguez as well. Is there any familial relationship with that person?
No.
So just coincidence of the last names?
Yeah.
Mr. Rodriguez, are you a boater?
I am.
Would you consider yourself an avid boater?
Yeah, I think I am.
What type of, do you own a boat?
Yes.
Did you own a boat in September of 2022?
Yes,
Now, you have a cousin who owns a boat as well, is that correct?
that is correct.
And do you recall if you were actually on a boat during the Labor Day weekend in September of 2022?
Yes, I was using my cousin's boat.
Can you describe what your cousin's boat looks like, the make and model, if you know?
It's a 30-foot Cobra Cat. It's a center console, twin engine.
Do you recall what color it is?
It's white.
Does your cousin still own the boat?
Yes,
And do you know where your cousin stores or keeps that boat?
at his house.
In Miami?
Yeah, Miami.
On September 4th, 2022, do you recall being in the Upper Keys area, Key Largo area, Isla Mirada?
Yes, Island Routing.
What were you doing that day?
I was in the sandbar.
Was somebody with you?
Yeah, a friend of mine.
A young lady?
Yes, correct.
Do you recall approximately when you got to that sandbar that day, more or less?
Probably like at 9 a.m.
Now, being that you were on your cousin's boat and that boat is kept at his house, how was it or where was it that you put his boat in the water?
I launched the boat on Crandon Park Marina.
Trailered it over there?
That's correct.
From Crandon Marina, you drove the boat to Isla Mirada.
Yes.
Do you recall approximately how long or how much time you spent in Isla Mirada that day?
Since the morning that I was there, the whole day, probably to like 5:30.
Do you recall what the conditions, the weather conditions and sea conditions were that day?
It was like a very clear day, perfect seas, perfect day, basically.
How would you describe the performance capabilities of your cousin's boat that you were on that day?
It's like a high performance center console. It's pretty fast compared to regular boats.
How many engines are on that boat?
Twin 400 horsepower engines.
What do you think the top speed is of that boat? If somebody wanted to open it up.
Probably 80, the 80s.
I realize it's your cousin's boat, but have you ever driven that boat at 80 miles per hour?
I have, yes.
Do you recall if on September 4th, 2022, at any time, you got anywhere near that speed?
Not around that speed, but the 60s.
So between Crandon Marina and your destination at Isla Mirada, at some point were you cruising in the 60-mile-per-hour range?
Yeah, for a couple minutes maybe, and average speed 50 miles per hour, 55 miles per hour.
Was there anything about the weather conditions that made it unsafe on that day with those conditions to drive at that speed?
No, it was like a beautiful day, you know.
I approach your honor. Mr. Rodriguez, I'm showing you what has been marked as Defense Exhibit A16, A17, A18, A19, and A20. I'd ask you to take a look at all of these exhibits and let the jury know if you recognize what's depicted in these photographs.
Yes, that's the picture of my cousin's boat, his house.
And is this the boat that we've been talking about this morning that you were on the day of September 4th?
That is correct.
And do these pictures accurately reflect what your cousin's boat looked like on September 4th? It's 2022.
They do. It has different motors in that picture and the date of the incident, but yeah, that's the same boat.
So the motors on the date of the incident versus when these photographs were taken, what is the difference between the motors?
These are more modern engines, more powerful, but that's about it. Everything else is the same.
What about the color? The color of the...
Yes, these engines, the other engines were white and these were black.
So the engines pictured in defense exhibits A16 through A20 are black engines. And
that's right.
And the engine colors on the boat on September 4th were white. Is that right?
That's correct, yes.
May I publish, Judge?
Yes, you may.
I'm sorry? Oh, yes. If there's no objection, I'll move these into evidence.
Okay.
See what's been previously marked
You can make it a
for
composite.
identification
No?
as defense. A16 is now defense exhibit M.
M as in Mary?
M as in Mary. At A17, defense exhibit N, as in Nancy. A18, defense exhibit O. A19, defense exhibit P. A20, defense exhibit Q.
Thank you. Mr. Rodriguez, these state's exhibits that you just looked at, these are pictures of the back of the boat, correct?
That is correct.
Defense exhibit. Defense. There's also one of these exhibits, Defense Exhibit Q, which give sort of a lengthwise view of the vessel. Is that right?
Yes.
At some point that day, you and your friend decided to head back north to go home. Is that right?
Yes.
Was the route that you took on your way back home the same route that you took on your way down to the Keys?
That is correct. Yeah.
And what was that route?
I left Crandon and all intercoastal, went under the Carson Bridge and all the way to Isla Mirada by the intercoast on the bay side.
So then on the way back, the same route, is that correct?
Exactly the same route.
At some point, you start to near the area known as Cutter Bank, is that right?
Correct.
Were you coming, there was a channel at Cutter Bank, isn't there?
That's correct.
At what point are you able to see the channel at Cutter Bank that day?
Once you go into the Carson Bridge heading north, you can see it. It's probably 2 or 3 miles out, but you can see from far, you can see, I guess it means I know the direction already, so I'm looking for it, but to get close, it's not very visible from that length, but you can see it, yeah.
Do you recall what speed you were cruising at while you were at Hart Sound?
Probably like 55.
Same speed that you were cruising at on the way down?
Yes.
More or less?
Yes.
And, pardon me, was there something that caught your attention before you reached the Cutter Bank channel?
Yes, when I passed Carson and I was driving maybe 2 minutes after I passed Carson, 2 minutes, I saw the keel of the boat, the bottom of the boat from far away. And I figured somebody had capsized or had an accident. So I sped up to where the boat that I was looking at.
So from 55 mile an hour cruising, more or less, you increased speed from that point?
Yeah, I went like 70 after that.
Were the conditions at that point of the day safe enough for you to cruise or drive your boat at 70 miles per hour?
Yes, they were.
Had the conditions not been safe enough to cruise at that speed, would you have done so?
No, I would have not.
So at 70 miles per hour, you are now heading toward the area where you see a keel of a boat. Is that right?
Yes.
Did it appear, it seems obvious that there was a capsized vessel? Is that what you were seeing?
Yes.
From your position, when you first saw the capsized vessel, you were were you able to see anybody in the water or around this capsized vessel?
Not from the distance on.
At some point, did you get close enough that you were able to see people in the water?
Yes, when I approached, yeah.
And in fact, were there people in the water as you approached?
Yes.
How many, roughly?
There was mostly girls, teenage girls. In the moment, I didn't know how many, but around 10, 11 girls.
Did it appear to you, Mr. Rodriguez, that you had arrived within minutes of this accident having happened?
I feared yes, because everybody was still swimming, and it was like chaos. Everybody was screaming, and so I figured I was fairly a couple minutes before it happened.
At some point, did you have any interaction with someone who later became known to you as George Pino?
Not at the moment, I read.
Describe to us what you did in the moments or minutes before having interaction with Mr. Pino.
When I arrived to the scene, the other girls were in the water, and there was a lady, and she was telling me that there was a missing girl. So I started, I didn't even speak to her. I just started looking for the girl, like idling in the boat, going with the current. More or less, I figured the current had taken her, so I'm idling around looking for her.
Could you describe what this woman looked like who told you that there was someone missing?
I don't remember exactly like her face, but I know she was bleeding. I remember the blood in her forehead.
Did this female person look to be a mature woman or a teenager?
No, not sure.
After hearing this mature woman say that there's someone missing, what did you do?
I started idling in the boat, going in circles, going with the current, trying to spot the girl that was missing.
At some point, did you come into contact with someone who you believe was the operator of the boat?
Yes, after the girl was found, yes.
And what, did you have any interaction with that person?
Yes, I did.
Did you at any time find out the identity of who that person was, who you believe the operator was?
Yes, when I rescued him.
Let's talk about your efforts to rescue this person.
Okay.
First of all, did you ever find out the name of this person at some point afterward?
After the accident?
Yeah.
Yes.
Or after you rescued? I think you mentioned that a few moments ago. Is that right?
Well, after a rescue, I didn't know his name exactly, but I spoke to him.
All right. All right. So we'll get there in a moment, but describe for the jury what was involved with you rescuing the operator of the boat.
He was hanging from his boat, and the current has taken him far from the scene of the accident. So he was far away from me. I don't know exactly the feet, but maybe like 150 feet already. The current had taken him, and I saw that he was getting away, and everybody was, well, the girls obviously in the incident, and at the same time that I was looking at him, I was calling the cops at the same time. I didn't know if somebody called cops or reported the incident. So I started heading towards him, and I told him to get on the boat.
Let me stop you right there for a moment. You mentioned a moment ago that this person was hanging from the boat. Can you describe a little bit more precisely what you mean by that?
He was hanging, the boat was capsized, and he was hanging like from the gun of the boat, from the side of the boat, with his two hands like that.
I see. Was anyone else hanging onto the capsized boat as well?
No.
Just this individual, is that right? And you could tell that it was a male person?
That's correct.
Did you have any communication, oral communication with this person?
Yes, I did.
Tell me about that.
I was telling him to get on the boat because the current was taking him. And
did he respond to you when you told him to get on the boat?
At first, no. I had to kind of talk loud to him, like, hey, get on the boat.
What was his reaction when you told him to get on your boat?
He looked like very in shock.
Very what? I'm sorry.
Like in shock. Like he wouldn't, he was like in shock.
Okay. Did it seem to you as if he was comprehending what you were saying to him?
Yes.
And can you describe from your view, what it means to be looking like he's in shock?
He was just hanging from the boat, and he was like crying. So I figured it was, and some big accident happened. So I figured he was in shock,
Did eventually he come onto your boat?
Yes, he did.
How much effort did you have to make, or how many times did you have to ask this person to come onto your boat before he finally did?
Like twice, because when I asked him the first time, he didn't answer, and then I asked him again, and he was asking for if all the girls were okay. And I told him, get on the boat, all the girls are okay, get in the boat. And then he started swimming to the boat.
So before he would get into your boat, he wanted to know if all the girls were okay.
Yes, he did ask me about the girls.
Mr. Rodriguez, I want to refer you again to these pictures of the boat that you were on that day. Is it easy to get in that boat from the water?
It's really not. It's really not that easy to get on the boat.
Your Honor, may Mr. Rodriguez step down?
Sure.
Mr. Rodriguez, I'm handing you what is Defense Exhibit M. I'm just to hold this up. You can use my pen as a pointer if you like. What I want to ask you is if you can orientate the jury a little bit to the configuration of the back portion of your cousin's boat. First of all, these are the two engines I'm pointing at, two black, that's pretty obvious, right? Can you tell me what this steel-looking bar is and what it does?
This is a tie bar. So what it does is helps the motors steer evenly. So one motor doesn't steer more than the other when you're turning at high speed.
When the boat is in the water, does this tie bar remain above the water or does it go below the water?
No, it remains like the water, like 6 inches above the water.
So while this boat is floating in the water and it's still, there's 6 inches between the surface of the water and the steel bar, is that correct?
That is correct.
I presume the steel bar is not flexible in any way, is that correct?
No, it's a full stainless steel solid bar.
Now does your cousin's boat have an entrance ladder or an entrance ramp?
This will be a little platform here at the entrance.
Okay, I'm gonna show you a larger picture. This is Defense Exhibit Defense Exhibit M that we've been looking at. And I'm now gonna show you Defense Exhibit N, which is a little bit of a closer shot. Is that right?
Yes, correct.
And still closer, I'm going to show you what is Defense Exhibit O. And that's probably the closer shot even of this entrance ramp. Is that right?
That's correct.
All right. So is there any way to get on your cousin's boat other than using this ladder, this ramp?
No, the entry.
Now there is a device under the what would you describe that as? A
swim platform.
Swim platform. So there's a device under the swim platform. Is that right?
Correct.
Is that movable at all?
Yes, this is, you push it down your hand with your foot, you get it on it, and automatically retreats back once you climb into the swim platform.
So let me show you what is in evidence as Defense Exhibit P. As compared to Defense Exhibit O. And please describe for the jury what we are seeing in Defense Exhibit P.
The swim platform has this little step on the bottom, similar to, you're not familiar with it, so you put your foot on it, and you press on it, and then step down, and automatically retreat back into this position once you let go.
Now, when an individual wants to get onto your cousin's boat, they would have to do so from the rear portion of the boat, correct?
That's correct.
Where the engines are.
Correct.
Where the tie bar is between the two engines, correct?
Correct.
Is that right?
That's correct.
Now, describe for the jury physically what a person would have to do if they're trying to get onto this boat from in the water.
You have to get into the front bar, kind of like on the water, and then you have to hang, like deep water or wherever, you have to hang from the hatch. You see how two little handles here, like two little holes in the swim platform? You grab there very tight with your foot, and kind of you gotta be strong to get up because you don't have an actual grab bar.
So what you're saying is that, oops. What you're saying is that once the step is deployed, there's no grab bar on the hull of the boat itself anywhere. Is that right? So is it an awkward angle to grab anywhere on the deck in order to lift yourself up? And why is that?
Because your body, you're putting yourself and then you're here. And you gotta push yourself kind of up, so then grab into the top of the boat. But first you gotta push yourself up. So yeah, it's kind of a little hard for you.
Are you familiar with ladders getting into other center console boats, for example?
Yes.
Are there typically easier ways to get into boats?
They are.
This is not one of them, is that right?
No.
Do you have any idea why this step, this deck here is designed this way for this boat?
We did it, it was like more sporty lift, so that was the reason for the lift.
So you gotta be, there's a method then in order to get into that boat. Is that right?
That is right.
You may return to your seat. At some point, did the operator get onto your boat or your cousin's boat?
Yes, he did.
And how did he get on the boat?
He got on by the SWIFT platform that we're talking about.
And he did it in the manner in which you just described for the jury?
Yes, he did.
Was the operator able to negotiate the steel bar between the two engines?
Yes.
He did that successfully?
Yes.
Was he able to deploy the step on the swim platform?
Yes, I gave him instructions how to get in but he did it after I told him where the step was.
So he followed your instructions that were given?
That is correct.
And was he able to physically leverage himself onto the swim deck as he described to the jury a few moments ago?
Yes.
Now, once this individual is on the swim deck, again, it's depicted in Defense Exhibit O, how was the individual able to get into your boat?
Yeah, once he got in the swim platform, he pushed himself up. He just stepped into the boat.
Did you observe any difficulty that this person had getting into the boat?
No, I didn't.
Did you notice any difficulty that this person had swimming under the steel tie bar as he was approaching the ladder?
No.
Did you notice any difficulty that this person had getting onto the swim deck itself before getting into your boat?
No.
Once this individual was inside your boat, did you notice, did he have any injuries?
Yes, he had a cut in his head and he was bleeding. Once he came into the boat, that's when I saw it.
Do you recall whether you or your friend that was on the boat with you, do you recall if anybody gave this person any first aid for the cut on his head?
Yes, I did.
Please tell the jury what you did.
When he stepped into the boat, he was facing me, obviously, and I didn't see any injuries. So I checked him. He was kind of like nervous. So I checked him and I turned his head around and he was bleeding in the back of his head.
What type of first aid did you provide once you noticed he was bleeding from his head?
I had a towel next to me and I put the towel on his head and put pressure on it.
Did you attempt to clean the wound?
Yes.
How did you do that?
I put pressure in the towel and cleaned it and took the towel to look again and he was bleeding. So I hold the towel there and I hold it for him there.
Were you able to resolve the bleeding at that point?
After, I'll say like 5 minutes of me holding it out, the bleeding slowed down.
Mr. Rodriguez, did you have any preconceived notions as to how this accident might have happened before the individual got onto your boat?
I figured they had hit the pipe, but that was about it.
Did you have in your mind why this operator might have hit the pilot?
Normally when that happens is somebody's impaired or drinking or that type of things comes to your head, That's my thing. That's what I thought.
That's what you thought at the time?
Yes.
With that in mind, were you making any sort of specific observations to either confirm in your mind that this person was impaired by something or to discount that altogether?
To be honest, I did.
And what did you do?
When I was cleaning him, I got really on purpose close to him because I figured that he was probably drinking and I trying to smell something, I guess, just to be curious. And that's what I did.
Did you notice an odor of alcoholic beverage coming from this person?
No, I didn't.
Did this person appear to be unsteady on their feet while they were in your boat?
No.
And were you speaking with this individual?
Yes,
And was this individual speaking back to you?
yes,
Did you notice if this individual had slurred speech?
no,
Was there anything about this individual, after paying attention to him for this reason, that led you to believe that he might have been impaired by alcohol?
no,
At the point that this person was on your boat with you, had any police vessels arrived?
no.
In fact, you had to call just to make sure that someone in fact called the police. Is that right?
I asked, after I got there, other boats started getting there and there was like a commotion going on. So I screamed, asked anybody call 911? And everybody was like, not answering. So I called 911.
Do you recall at some point that day a helicopter flying overhead?
Yes,
And how long after you brought the individual onto your boat did you notice the helicopter overhead, roughly?
roughly like 15 minutes.
And this person remained on your boat with you and your friend for 15 minutes?
And more than that,
For those 15 minutes between the time that he got onto your boat to the time that you saw the helicopter, he remained on your boat at that.
that is correct.
Do you recall taking any videotape of this person while he was on your boat?
Yes,
Mr. Rodriguez, you and I met earlier today so that I could show you what a videotape or what a video was on this particular thumb drive. Is that right?
that's right.
Did you have a chance to look at this video and view it for yourself?
Yes,
I'm handing you what has been marked as Defense Exhibit A15 for identification purposes. How do you know that this is the thumb drive that you viewed with me earlier today?
I
The state
did.
has no objection to it just being admitted.
Okay.
A15, mark for identification, now defense exhibit R.
Thank you. I'm going to get this queued up if that's all right, Your Honor. Just hold on for a second. Mr. Rodriguez, do you recall what your reasoning was or why it was that you took videotape?
I just took the video because the helicopter was like on top of the boat. And I took a short video, I didn't want to on the phone.
This was with your iPhone?
That's correct.
I'm assuming it's an iPhone. Was it an iPhone?
It was.
All right. If you wouldn't mind stepping down for a moment. How long is this video, more or less? Come on over here so you can see it. Whenever you're ready, folks. All right, for a second. Can you move that screen? Now, just quickly, Mr. Rodriguez, just to follow up what you said earlier today, the engines in this picture are white. Is that right? And that's the only difference between this boat. Correct. The only difference is between the boat as it was then, September 4th, and then as it is when those pictures were taken. Correct. Go ahead. One other thing. You see this boat in the background here? Mm-hmm. Is that a yes?
Yes.
Did you know any of the individuals on that boat?
No,
Did you have any interaction with the individuals on that boat that day that you recall?
I don't recall. I don't exactly remember the boat, but it's a similar boat to the one that got next to me when we were looking for the girl who was missing.
This is the video that you took. That was a quick Play one more. Mr. Rodriguez, the individual that is standing in the video in Defense Exhibit R, that's the individual that you rescued from the water, is that correct? Yes. Do you see that individual in court today? Yes. And will you please identify him? Gentleman. Gentleman in a blue suit with a blue tie? We'll stipulate that's George Pino, Your Honor.
So identified.
So, this is Mr. Pino, of course. In addition to the head wound that you mentioned earlier, were there any other injuries that you noticed?
That was the biggest injury that I noticed. If you see in the picture, you can see like a hump inside there.
Why don't you show it?
Right here. You see kind of white. And you can see like the head was, when I was behind him, you can see the cut there. He had that big bump inside.
So there was a large bump?
Yes.
On his head? Were you able to see into the laceration itself, into the cut itself?
No, I put the towel and hold the blood, but I could see it was a decent sized cut here.
Okay. Are you going to search your seat? And again, the video, the timing, from a timing perspective, that helicopter had not yet evacuated anyone at that point. Is that correct?
No.
Do you know if that helicopter ever evacuated anyone from that accident scene?
Not the helicopter.
Okay. There was an evacuation. How?
The helicopter dropped the first responder, I guess, paramedic, and they left on a boat after that. Mr. Rodriguez, is there a timestamp on that video that we just saw? I'll have to look at my phone or find the video. That was a while back.
Okay. Do you have your iPhone with you today?
Yeah.
Right. Judge, may I ask the witness to look for that? There's no check on this.
I have a lot of pictures from that time. Let me see what you find.
That's September 4th, 2022, of course.
I have the pictures here for the date, but I don't know why it's not giving me the correct time. It's saying I took the picture at 10 a.m. and it's obviously in the afternoon.
All right. Well,
I found another picture has the time on it.
What does the time say?
This picture says when I went to rescue him. A picture that I have, it says 7:04, but I don't see the time on the helicopter.
All right. So if that's all around the general time frame that you rescued Mr. Pino from the water, we're talking about 7:04.
I'm sorry, I found the video. It's 7:14.
7:14.
Yeah.
Now that video at 7:14, Mr. Pino had already been on your boat for 15 minutes, I think you said. Is that right?
Yes.
All right. So the picture that you just mentioned, that is timestamp 7:04, that probably is closer in time to when you actually rescued Mr. Pino from the water. Correct?
Objection pleading.
Rephrase your question.
Sure. Can you give an estimate based on viewing the pictures that you just looked at as to what the time was when Mr. Pino got onto your boat?
Well, now I saw the time, but in the moment I'm not keeping track of the time. But after I took that picture of him in the water, like before I rescued him, like 2 minutes after he was on the boat.
All right. You mentioned 7:04. Does that sound right? That's
Yes.
what the picture says anyway.
Yes.
At some point that day, did you deliver Mr. Pino to a police boat?
Yes.
And after delivering Mr. Pino to the police boat, did you have any further involvement that day with this accident?
No.
Stand by. Just get this back from you. Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. I don't have further questions.
Yes. 3 minutes ish. Okay. Hi, Mr. Rodriguez.
Hello.
I want to ask you a question. When you were scrolling through your phone, can you go back in your photo log to the different images you took from that day for us?
Yes.
Okay, would you do that?
Yeah, I have like 3 pictures.
Okay. Do you mind if I look?
No, not at all.
Okay.
You see Mr. Pino?
Okay. You got to keep your voice up. I'm sorry. I know I'm close to you, but
You can see in the picture Mr. Pino
Okay.
hanging from the boat.
all right. What else do you have?
I have another picture. This is the video you just watched.
Yes.
This I hold on somewhere. And this is the other picture, basically the same, just different angle.
Okay. Your Honor, I want to just for demonstrative purposes, see if you can show that image, please, to the jurors.
Okay.
May the witness step down? Yes. And we'll probably have to do it twice, because your phone's not humongous, okay? So why don't you show the jurors the photograph that you took? And is it possible to see where the person that was holding onto the boat is? Can you, stretch it out so we can see? When you first see something in the distance that lets you think, oh my goodness, there's maybe an emergency there, about how long does it take you to get from where you are to the scene of that emergency?
5 minutes.
Okay, so from 5 minutes away, you were able to see signs of people being in distress, right?
Yeah.
And you wanted to get there as quickly as you could because you wanted to help.
That is correct.
Now, even though you were going pretty fast, you weren't even going at the top speed that your cousin's boat could go at that time, were you?
Almost.
Close to it.
Yeah,
Because you wanted to help somebody.
that's correct.
You weren't going there because you wanted to go have a dinner party, were you?
No,
And you didn't crash in anything on the way getting to help somebody, did you?
no.
Okay, nothing else.
Nothing further, Judge. Nothing.
Thank you.
All right, ladies ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna take our lunch break at this time. Please put your notepads inside your envelopes. We're going to be having lunch until 2:15. 2:15, so about 5 minutes to 1. Right now, 2:15. We'll return to the jury room on the 7th floor after lunch. Please do not discuss this case with each other. Ladies and gentlemen, please. Or with anyone else. Please, no research or investigation. If you see any of us outside of this courtroom, we're going to ignore you. If you have any issues or concerns, please bring them to Renee's attention. Reminding everyone in the courtroom, anyone wearing a juror badge, please stay away from. And if you're discussing the case, please find a quiet, private place to have those conversations. All right, very well. We'll see you at 2:15. If you'd all wait in the courtroom just for a moment for the jury room. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be on lunch break until 2:15. Thank you.
Okay, so what I am going to do, Herman Monster. I'm just looking in the chat. Oh, here on Discord. Oh gosh, how funny. Oh no. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Let me check and see what we have going on in regards to our other case that we were in. It started about, yeah, they only been going for about 20 something odd minutes. I guess my thing is that with the information that we see today and what's coming out, what do you guys think? Let me see if I can. I'm about to open this up since they're on break, right? CNA started about 9:30ish. So they just kind of like started. Give me a second. I'm about to open up this chat. So I've opened back up the chat on YouTube only because they're not live, right? So I think that what we can do, I mean, we got one or two options here. Y'all know as we're live in court and watching it right with them, we are not able to have live chat open. But if you if we delay it, then we can have live chat open. So my question to you guys is, do we stop where we're at right now with this trial and pick this up after we get some delayed time? The reason why we went in here early this morning on time is because we were trying to make sure that we didn't miss whatever the judge decided in regards to the JOA. But the JOA, judgment of acquittal, was not granted. So now we are in a defense case. So it's like I said, our other trial is kind of going on, so we can go in there. Let me get and this is gonna be day 4. Day 4. I can get us a room set up and then we can come back over here once we have some delayed time. Let's see here. So I'm just kind of getting the room set up and then we'll go over there. We'll watch our Alaska trial and we'll come back in here later. We'll finish up the rest of this later. That way we don't have too much downtime in between. Just give me a second. I'm getting it together. Hey, Gabber. She said, there's no chance, not a chance. I know, I've never seen him sit that close to the defendant. Isn't that something? That's different, huh? I've never really like seen that be like that. Like they real close, like he right there. Okay, 1 second. I'm getting it together. Yeah, sorry, I just had somebody that I was up there changing something on a on my on a message that I got up under one of my videos. You know, the things that people, I tell you, the things that people take the time to say is just absolutely ridiculous to me. I don't even understand it. Like, to take the time to write a negative comment, like with all of that, you could have just did what you wanted to do, but nope, they just couldn't help themselves. So sorry, I had to respond to their negative comment and tell them to kick rocks. And I do mean kick rocks, and you can kick all the rocks. Okay, that's fixed. Okay, let me get our redirect going. Y'all would be amazed the things that, and I probably don't even catch them all, but sometimes I do catch them. But sometimes people put some stuff in there that it's like, why even take the time to write a whole paragraph telling me how you don't like me? Like, I almost think you do like me if you took all that time to tell me about all the things that I have done wrong. All the things I have done wrong on this channel, and the reason why you don't like this channel, like, I don't know if you try to tell me what I should do better or what you saying, but for you to take all that time to say all of that, and all I'm gonna do is respond back and tell you to kick rocks, and I do many rocks, and I hope one hits you. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm never wasting that much time out of my day to do anything like that for nobody. But that's just me. Okay, let me get the link for us. I'll also drop it over there in Discord, just in case you guys are over there in Discord. I'll go ahead and end this stream. It should redirect you over to the military marriage murder trial. We are going into day 4 of that one. We'll go over there and hang out there and watch that coverage while we get some delayed time with George Pino. All right, guys, let's go.